Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to a new video. Before we begin today's chapter, I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, it would help me a lot if you left a comment with your opinion, as that motivates me to keep bringing you more stories. Now then, get comfortable and I'll leave you with the fanfic.
Chapter 1, Death to the Demon. Naruto, God of Shinobi. Night of the Kyuubi attack. Minato stared at his wife, one claw from the Kyuubi going right through her stomach. She looked at him and smiled. "I'm sorry, Minato, but our son needs you in his life," she says, tears streaming down both of their faces. They had both jumped in front of the claw, ready to sacrifice themselves to protect their newborn child. At least they both were supposed to. However, at the last second, Kushina created one last chakra chain to collide with Minato, barely avoiding the claw going through him as well. He stared at her. "Kushina, please don't leave us. It's not supposed to be this way. He needs us both in his life. We're both supposed to be there for him, not just me. He'll have you, and that's good enough. I love you both. Protect our son from the man that did this. Teach him everything he'll need to know, and be a great father. Minato, I love you both. Now I'm going to seal half of it in you and the other half in Naruto. He will need its power, you both will, to defeat the man who did this." She proceeded to do the seals to summon the Shinigami. Its hand reached into her and into the Kyuubi. It then sealed half of it in Minato and the other half in Naruto. Minato fell to the ground on his hands and knees, gasping as the pain in his stomach unbearable. He looked at Kushina, who was on the ground now. She looked at him and smiled. "Take care of him. Make sure he eats healthy. Watch out while he's around Ero, Jiraiya-sensei, and Lady Tsunade. Don't let him pick up their habits. And Minato, I love you." Minato looked up at her. "I love you too, Kushina. We will defeat him when he returns, and our son will become a great ninja." The Shinigami then took her soul, and the pain in his stomach subsided. There was barely any strength left in him, but he needed to see his son. He crawled to Naruto. "My son, you will be great." Then the world went black. The barrier dropped, and Hiruzen ran forward in his battle gear. "Oh, Kami, Kushina, no." He ran to her but knew she was gone. He then ran to Minato and with relief found a pulse. "Medics, now we are not losing him too," he screamed, causing Naruto to wake up and begin crying. Hiruzen walked over to the newborn child and picked him up, gently rocking him back and forth. There, little one, you'll be okay. Everything will be okay." The medics appeared and quickly did a scan of Minato and Naruto. "Both are all right. Minato is just suffering from chakra exhaustion. He'll wake up in the morning tired, but okay. And Sarutobi-sama, they both have the 8 trigram seal. They're both the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi." Two of the medics then picked up Minato on a stretcher and Shunshin to the hospital with Hiruzen in tow carrying Naruto. The next morning, Minato awoke with a start. "Kushina!" He screamed, praying to Kami that it was all a dream. He looked around and saw he was in the hospital and saw Naruto waking up next to him. The Umbu burst into the room. "Hokage-sama, is everything okay?" "Yes, I'm fine now. I was just hoping that I woke up from a nightmare." "We are sorry for your loss, Hokage-sama. If you need anything, we will be outside the door." "Thank you, Bear. Please inform Hiruzen Dano that I have woken up. I know he will want to speak with me." "Hi, Hokage-sama." Minato then raised his hospital gown to inspect the new seal on his stomach. Everything seemed to be perfect. He then inspected Naruto's and found the same results. "Kushina, I miss you already. You did a fantastic job." The aged Sarutobi walked in, his face tired and drained. "Minato, what happened?" Minato then told him everything of the masked man, of him summoning and controlling the Kyuubi, of their fight, and finally of Kushina's sacrifice and his son's new status as Jinchurikis. "Jiraiya and Tsunade are on their way back. I informed them after I brought Naruto here. They were close and should be here tomorrow at latest. Until then, you need rest." "No, I need to talk to my people and inform them of what occurred and show that I am healthy. Hopefully my status as a Jinchuriki will deter them from hating me or my son." Hiruzen sighed and looked at Minato and saw the determination and strength return back to him. "Fine, would you like me to send some Umbu to retrieve your clothes? And some for Naruto as well?" "Yes. And Hiruzen, I'm sorry about Bawako. She was an amazing medic." The previous Hokage turned to look out the window while tears began to fall down his face. "I need to tell Asuma still." The Umbu arrived with the clothing and food for all 3 of them. After they ate and got ready, Minato picked up Naruto and teleported to Hokage Tower, where a crowd was already formed wanting to know what happened to the Kyuubi and their Hokage. Minato appeared in front of the building. The crowd gasped slightly at the sight of his son. Last night we suffered many losses. I myself lost my wife Kushina Uzumaki. His voice was amplified so everyone could hear him. More and more people joined the crowd to the point where majority of the village was in the area. A murmur spread across the crowd as no one even knew the Hokage had even been dating someone, let alone married and had a child. She sacrificed herself to seal the Kyuubi away in me and my son. We are Jinchuriki, but we are not controlled by the demon as many as you believe. Kushina was the previous Jinchuriki, and I know many of you were close friends with her. I love this village and its people, but I will not stand for anyone disrespecting my son because they get the foolish thought that he is the Kyuubi. Repairs will begin immediately, but for now the danger to this village is gone. There was much talk around the village after that. Their Hokage was the container of the Kyuubi, but he seemed the same. Perhaps there was nothing to fear and he wasn't controlled by the demon. Not only that, but he had a son. A son who will surely be powerful and continue to protect this village as a ninja and be as great a shinobi as his parents. But there was also news that those who saw the Kyuubi claimed its eyes were red with 3 tomo. Once Minato heard of this, he immediately summoned Fugaku to the tower. "Hokage-sama, you wish to speak with me?" the elder Uchiha said with a slight warmth. "Fugaku, you know there's no reason to address me as such. Minato is just fine. And as to why I summoned you here, I presume you've heard the rumors spreading about the Kyuubi." "Yes, I have, and they are disheartening. There is much distrust towards the Uchiha lately. It was an Uchiha who controlled the Kyuubi, Fugaku, but there's only one Uchiha who can do that. But that's not possible. He's dead. If anyone could cheat death this long, it's him. There's no one strong enough to control it or with the knowledge to be able to plan out the full attack. He's done it before. It wouldn't be hard to do it again. Madara Uchiha is back. Minato, I'm sorry, this man is from my clan and dash. Please, Fugaku, this man does not represent the Uchiha. One evil person does not represent everyone as a whole. Minato, thank you. I almost forgot. Makoto and I would like you to stay at the Uchiha compound. We will help with raising young Naruto while you run this village, and I know it must be hard to be home. I haven't stepped foot in the house yet. I haven't been able to yet, and yes, I accept your offer. Thank you, my friend. Chapter 2, Graduation Day. Naruto-kun, come on, get up, you're going to be late. Minato yelled at his son, who was currently dead asleep upstairs in the Namikaze estate. Minato had requested that he'd receive a house, not a full compound, seeing as it was just him and Kushina at the time. The house was huge, to say the least, 3 stories tall, with a sub-level that served as a training area. The first level served as the living, dining room, and guest area with 4 master-sized bedrooms for any guests. The second level held 4 additional bedrooms meant for the owner and their family, 2 of them occupied by Minato and Naruto. The rooms were huge and had privacy and protection seals to make sure no one uninvited could sneak in. Well, they could, but they would be attacked by various poisons and kunai. The final level held every last bit of knowledge that Minato and Kushina had on their respective clans. They even traveled to Uzushiogakure to find if there was any leftover scrolls or anything of knowledge left. They had in fact found several scrolls and heirlooms which were all held there, as well as scrolls passed down and written by Minato on his clan techniques and his own. The years had been well to Minato, and the only noticeable difference was that his hair was considerably longer, with it reaching the middle of his back, and his bangs fell just past his chin. "Coming, Dad, just finished getting ready," Naruto shouted as he jumped over the stairs. He wore a black shirt that served as armor due to various seals hidden on it. His shinobi pants were a dark gray with several pockets with the same seals as his shirt. Over this he wore a black cloak with an orange flame pattern across the bottom. As much as his father tried, Naruto refused to not have any orange on his attire, since it was, according to him, the best color possible. On his right hand he wore a gold ring with an orange stone set in place. All along the ring were patterns of spirals in honor of the Uzumaki symbol and his mother. Minato considered the ring one of his best creations, as there was 2 seals on it, one for durability and the other one was a huge breakthrough for him. It allowed the user to transfer chakra into the stone, where it would be held indefinitely until the user chose to draw it out. It could hold an indefinite amount of chakra. Seeing as Naruto had huge amounts of chakra and could afford to dump copious amounts into the stone, it would be amazing for if the case should arise that he'd somehow be in a conflict and ended up with hardly any chakra. "All right, Dad, I'm ready to go." Minato went to his son and hugged him. He realized he hardly needed to bend down any, as his son had gone through a growth spurt, going from 4 feet 5 inches to an even 5 feet, putting him at one of the tallest in his class. Your mother would have been proud of you, Naruto. Now let's head out and get you your headband. I'm so proud of you. They walked out the door. Other side of town. Sasuke-kun, enough training, you don't want to be late or be sweaty and dirty for your graduation. Mikoto yelled at her son, who was currently training with his older brother Itachi. Yes, Sasuke-kun, we need to leave soon. We have to meet with Hokage-sama and Naruto-kun. HN good, let get there soon. Want to have enough time to get in a spar with the dobe, Sasuke said with a slight grin. Itachi just rolled his eyes. Ever since they were young, his brother and surrogate brother had a strong rivalry, but it had advanced their strengths and gave them a huge drive to constantly train, resulting in both being easily the strongest in their class. Itachi and Sasuke then shunshined to the Namake's estate, meeting Minato and Naruto right as they walked out. Itachi-kun, I've told you before, contrary to what the elders believe, I don't need a bodyguard. After the Kyuubi incident, and once Minato moved back to the Namake's estate after spending 3 years at the Uchiha compound, the council deemed it necessary that Minato was to have a bodyguard with him at all times on top of the Umbu patrol. At first, this manifested itself as Kakashi Hatake, who was around constantly and even moved into the estate. Once he became a Jounin sensei at the urging of Minato, the council assigned Itachi, who at the very least agreed to not move in with them. Sorry, Hoka-dash. Minato is fine, Itachi, you know that. Hi, Hokage-sama. Itachi said with a small smile on his face. During this exchange, Naruto and Sasuke had been glaring daggers at each other with a thin stream of lightning flying between the two. Don't take it too hard when I show everyone today that I'm the better ninja team. HN, in your dreams, dobe, I've wiped the floor with you the last few spars. Alright, you two, try not to cause too much damage to the school, please. I can't deal with the paperwork. Minato then sighed and repeated more to himself than anyone else, that damn paperwork. Alright, Naruto. Sasuke, good luck to both of you, Itachi, and I will be there when you two get out. We have a surprise for the both of you if you pass. Minato said with a smile as he saw the determination almost visibly show as tiny flames appeared in both of the boys' eyes. Naruto then gave his father a hug and Sasuke gave Itachi a hug, then gave a small bow to the Hokage, and then both used a shunshin to appear in the classroom in an instant while also knocking a desk over and scattering papers everywhere. Irika, using his head grow jutsu, screamed at the two soon-to-be shinobi, "Damn it, you two, how many times have I said to not use that jutsu? If you can't control your speed now, pick everything up." His head then shrank down and he gave a small smile as the Jinchuriki and the Uchiha heir scrambled to pick up the most papers. Despite their antics, he had to admit it was interesting to say the least to have two students who weren't even genin yet to be able to use the shunshin among other jutsu. They had already proven in their first year to be able to do the clone jutsu, so their parents had requested their exam be different than anyone else's. Alright, everyone, take your seats. We will now begin the exams to pass. First up is Shikamaru. He looked around and saw Shikamaru asleep already in the back of the class and proceeded to grab a piece of chalk and launch it at his head, waking up the lazy Nara. Once he got him on his way, he continued the exams with everyone passing perfectly, well, everyone except the young Uchiha and Namake's. Irika-sensei, what about me and Sasuke team? Naruto asked. Shut up, dobe, Sasuke said to Naruto, glaring daggers and yet again the stream of electricity sparking between the two. Yeah, why haven't they gone, Irika? How are they supposed to pass? Become ninja and inevitably fall in love with me? Sakura yelled. Both sweat dropped at this, not wanting to hear the same speech again as they had heard it countless times. In your dreams, forehead, they're mine. Ino yelled at the Pinkite, who then proceeded to stick her tongue out at Ino. Chuji then had to grab Ino to prevent her from attacking Sakura and causing a scene, as what usually happens almost every day. The whole commotion was enough to wake up the lazy Nara, who only uttered a simple troublesome before putting his head back down. Alright, enough. Enough, let me talk. Irika yelled, having to grow his head to comical proportions again to gain the attention of his students. It was times like these that he wondered if he would have been better off forcing the two to graduate after their first year. It sure would have saved him the trouble of girls constantly causing commotions to gain the attention of the heirs. Unfortunately for them, ignoring the girls only seemed to make them try harder to gain their attention. Anyways, if you had let me finish, I was about to say that they will be given a different test, seeing as they were able to perform the clone jutsu already. Now if you all would follow me outside, we can finish the exams. The student followed Irika outside to the training grounds. Alright, Naruto, Sasuke, I was given special instructions from your parents. Naruto, your test will be to mac what there's no possible way you know this jutsu. And Sasuke teach this isn't possible, neither of you can do these tasks. Kamen Irika-sensei, what's the test? We kind of need those if we want to graduate, Naruto said to his teacher. Sasuke gave a simple nod and a what the dobe said. Irika sighed. Alright Naruto, your test is to make a Rasengan with one hand, and Sasuke, you will need to perform the fireball jutsu using only the tiger seal. I don't know how either of you are possibly expected to perform these. He stopped and could only stare at Naruto as he created a perfect Rasengan and as Sasuke used the fireball jutsu using the one seal. Naruto and Sasuke looked at him and raised their eyebrows as if to say, was that it? Meanwhile, the various girls of the class were going crazy about how cool they were. The young heirs could only roll their eyes. After Irika came over his initial shock, he could only smile at the idea of how powerful these two were. Alright, well, I'm happy to say that all of you have passed. Please come back inside to get your headband, and tomorrow teams will be assigned first thing in the morning. I'm very proud of all of you. Today you begin your careers as shinobi of Konoha, and from here on out the challenges will only be tougher and tougher as your caliber as a ninja grows. Today you are all adults in the eyes of the world and are no longer kids. I congratulate all of you, my former students and new genin of Konoha. Alright team, I think now would be a perfect time for a spar, so I can kick your ass in front of everyone. Sasuke looked over at the blonde and gave a small smile. Just what I was thinking, dope, don't take it too hard when you lose. They both dashed forward, meeting in the middle as their fists collided, creating a small shock wave where their fists collided. Both jumped back and Naruto dashed forward, sliding on his knees to avoid Sasuke's punch. Immediately after his fist passed over the blonde's hair, he turned around aiming to punch the back of Sasuke's knee. Sasuke jumped and spun, connecting with Naruto's chin on a roundhouse kick, sending him flying. Naruto flipped in midair and landed on all fours, immediately pouncing back to the Uchiha. They exchanged a flurry of punches and kicks, none of which connected until Naruto focused chakra into his fist, then thrusted forward, shouting, Futon. Gale Fist. The attack released, sending a ball of condensed air straight into Sasuke, launching him away. Taking advantage of this, the young Namikaze sped forward and jumped using the same roundhouse kick the Uchiha used previously, sending him flying into the building. Sasuke bounced off the building and Naruto ran under him, grabbing his leg and slammed him down into the ground. He then began to charge chakra into his fist again for the same attack, and right as he sent out the compressed air, Sasuke flipped around, shooting a small fireball, the resulting explosion giving him enough time to get away. Naruto had quickly pulled his cloak over him, protecting him of all damage from the explosion. They ran forward again, and at about 20 feet from each other, both simultaneously shouted, Katan? Grand Fireball Jutsu. The attacks flew at each other, creating trenches as they moved. They collided and canceled out in an explosion that sent both airs flying back. Alright you two, that's enough for today, Minato said as he appeared right in between the two, with Itachi appearing moments later. Hogake-sama, Itachi-sama, I'm sure you will be pleased to know that they both passed the exams, Irika said with a smile and a hint of pride in his voice. Did they now? Well, Minato, I suppose they do deserve their surprises, then, do they not? Itachi asked. Minato smiled and pulled out 2 scrolls and tossed them to Naruto and Sasuke. Alright boys, see what's in them. I'm sure you will like them. They put a small amount of chakra into the swords, and with a poof their gifts arrived. 2 nearly identical katanas with a gold round crossguard, and for Naruto's an orange hilt and for Sasuke a black hilt. Naruto's blade had a slight green tinge to it and Sasuke's had a slight red tinge to the metal. The sword's edges were serrated. There's special seals on them, as you can see by the color. Naruto, channel chakra into your blade, and Sasuke, you do the same, Minato said to the new genin. They did as they were told, and Sasuke's blade immediately lit a flame and Naruto's gained a slight blue haze around it that also lengthened the blade considerably. Naruto, yours channels wind chakra regardless if you change your chakra nature, and Sasuke, yours does the same with fire. This feature can be turned off if you quickly put 2 bursts of chakra into the blade, and can be turned on the same way. The scabbards for the blades attach to your back with a special seal on them. All you have to do is put it on your back and it'll stay. Only you two can use your blades, as I've put seals on them that prevent anyone else from using them. If someone were to well, the blade would first send a jolt of electricity and then become dull. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Itachi Nizan, Naruto said. Sasuke looked at his older brother and his Hokage and gave similar thanks, truly appreciating the swords and the work that must have gone into crafting them. Alright, how does barbecue sound to you guys? Minato asked them. All three agreed and they headed over to the nearest spot to celebrate. The next day. All right, everyone settle down. I know you're all excited to see your teams. Now Team 1 will consist of. Irika went through the list of teams to reach Team 7. All right, Team 7 will be Naruto Namikaze, Sasuke Uchiha, and Dash. Both Sakura and Ino could be seen at this point crossing their fingers and saying prayers to Kami to be on that team. And Sakura Haruno. Yes, a team with both of them take that. I know pig love always wins. Sakura and Ino then proceeded to toss insults back and forth while Naruto and Sasuke dropped their heads on the desk with an audible thud. Of all people, we got stuck with the fangirl, of course. She better not hold me back. I'm not babysitting her while we're on missions, Sasuke said. Could be worse. Team, she is smart, so she has that going for her. As far as everything else though, well, she's book smart, I should say, Naruto said with a forced cheerfulness as he attempted to find a silver lining with the Pinky being the third member. Alright, Team 8 will consist of Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, and Hinata Hyuga. The three new team members all looked at each other and gave a smile indicating they were, with the exception of one blue-haired girl, happy with the overall team. And Team 10 will be Chuji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka. At this, the blonde-haired girl dropped her head, complaining about the team while thinking that she couldn't believe her parents were forcing them into the Ino Shikacho tradition. Troublesome woman was all the lazy Nara had to say. Alright, everyone, get with your teams. Your Jounin senseis should be here any time now. One by one their senseis came and went until only Team 7 was left, 2 hours after everyone else had already gone. Naruto and Sasuke, who figured out already that their sensei had to be Kakashi as no other Jounin would dare be this late, just sat and worked on chakra control exercises while Sakura switched between complaining about their sensei being late and trying to get either boy to go on a date with her. Finally, after 2.5 hours, Kakashi arrived. You're late, Sakura yelled, much to the annoyance of Sasuke and discomfort of Naruto. Well, a black cat crossed my path, so I had to take the long way around, Kakashi said with his trademark eye smile. Your excuses are getting worse, Kakashi Nizan. You know that, right? Naruto told his and his father's former roommate and bodyguard. What was that, Naruto? Kakashi asked, making his voice as sincere as possible, to which Naruto could only sweat drop. Alright, team, meet me on the roof. And with that, the Cyclops vanished in a poof of smoke. The three genin quickly followed, with Naruto and Sasuke leaving with a Shunshin, leaving Sakura behind to walk up the roof by herself. Finally, we've been waiting for you, Sakura, Naruto said with a flat voice. While he didn't hate her like Sasuke seemed to, he also didn't like her and saw her as a liability for upcoming missions. I'll have to ask her to do one-on-one training with me afterwards. Hopefully a few weeks of that should at least improve her skills enough, Naruto thought. Alright, now that we're all here, how about you tell me something about yourselves? What are your likes, dislikes, goals, things like that? Kakashi said. Why don't you go first so we know what you mean? The Pinky asked her new sensei. At this question, all three of the men rolled their eyes. What's there to know? The question is self-explanatory. Oh well, I guess I have to humor her. Maybe I would have been better off watching Minato-sensei constantly. Alright, well, I'm Kakashi Hitaki. I like many things. As for my dislikes, well, I don't want to tell you those, and as for my goal, well, that's private, Kakashi said, giving an eye smile while all three of his students' sweat dropped. Alright, Pinky, you go first. She glared at him first, then said, I'm Sakura Haruno. The people I like. She then glanced over to her left and right, looking at her two teammates, then blushed. I dislike Ino Pig and my goals. She then looked again at the two boys, who only rolled their eyes. Alrighty then, Naruto, why don't you go next? There's really no point, Kakashi Nizan. You and Sasuke already know about me. Kakashi just sighed and looked at his student. Just do the exercise, Naruto. Alright, my name is Naruto Namikaze. I like ramen, training, and beating Sasuke team at sparring. I dislike when Tusan doesn't let me eat ramen for breakfast or when Ero-senin is being a pervert. As for my goal, I want to become strong to protect the people I care about and become the greatest Hokage, even better than Tusan. Sasuke, you can go now. I'm Sasuke Uchiha. I like when Nizan and Tusan train me and teach me new jutsu. I dislike the dobe, and my goal is to become stronger than Nizan and Tusan and become clan head. Alright, well, those two I don't have to worry about. I already know they're strong, but Sakura, on the other hand, he then glanced up at her and saw her already attempting to get either boy to go on a date with her. Yeah, that's going to be fun. She's smart, but as far as everything else, She needs some serious training and I highly doubt that she even knows why she wants to be a shinobi. Alright team, well that was fun. Tomorrow meet me at training ground 3 at 5 in the morning, and don't eat breakfast otherwise you'll throw up. Kakashi said with a hint of malice. Alright, see you then. He said cheerfully, then disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Naruto looked at Sakura and saw that there was a hint of fear after what Kakashi said. You know he's lying, right? What? How do you know? He's a ninja, and not just any ninja, he's a former umbu. They're trained in deceit. He's obviously lying so that we show up tomorrow half-starved and weak. Oh, and he's at the very least 3 hours late to anything, so show up a few minutes before 8. Sakura, if you want to join us, me and team are going to train with Itachi Nizan with our swords. You can train with your kunai. He's inviting to go with him, but it's to train. I don't want them to see me sweaty and dirty though. I'll just go and watch. If that's all you're going to do, then don't come, Sasuke said, already walking away. Alright, fine, I suppose I could train. I'll just stop once I break a sweat. The trio headed towards the training ground and met with Itachi, who showed the boys a new style. He and Minato had taught them different ones before using wooden swords, as they had wanted them to know how to properly use the blades before they got them. After Itachi showed them a kata, he worked with Sakura on her accuracy and how to throw a kunai using the least amount of energy but getting the most power from the throw. They all trained until nightfall and headed back to their respective houses. The next morning, the 3 genin met at the training, only having to wait about 10 minutes before their sensei arrived. He had been expecting to receive looks of anger or frustration at the least, but nothing, and on top of that, they all looked like they had just ate. He glanced over at Naruto and Sasuke and saw smug smiles on the both of them. You know, you two could at least let me have some fun, he said, slightly disheartened at the fact that they ruined what he considered fun. No can do, Nizan. What's usually fun for you isn't fun for me. Actually, it usually ends in me being injured, you jerk. Huh, sorry Naruto, did you say something? He then smiled as the blonde grumbled to himself and was visibly annoyed. Well, at least that still gets a rise out of the kid. Anyways team, your mission is to collect these 2 bells. He held them up and they chimed slightly with the wind. Only 2 of you will pass, the other will be sent back to the academy to redo the full 4th year. You can't do that to us, that has to be illegal. I can and I will do it. You all are now my students, well at least 2 of you will be, and what I says goes. I am your Jounin commander. Now you have till noon to get the bells and begin, Kakashi said in a cold and serious voice, sounding angry and harsh. He smiled to himself though when everyone dashed away once he said begin. Well, at least they're smart enough to do that. However, Naruto and Sasuke will figure out soon that this is really about teamwork. Naruto dashed away, but he kept sight of where Sasuke and Sakura went. 3-man cells don't exist, only 4, 3 genin and a jounin. There's no way he can send one of us back. No, he'd have to send all of us back, so why did he tell us only 2 would pass? Wait, we have to take them from him. There's no way a genin can take on Kakashi. Hell, I can't even do that by myself. Me and Sasuke maybe, but we're not average genin, so that would mean that's it. He used the scare tactic to get us to separate and build distrust between us. One person can't do this alone. The actual exercise is about teamwork. We would put ourselves aside and worry about a team as a whole. That's what this exercise is about. Crap, I need to find Sasuke and Sakura, otherwise we won't have any chance of passing, and I'm not going back to school for a year. After searching for a bit, he finally found Sasuke, and after that it wasn't too hard to find Sakura. He informed them of what the exercise is actually about, then they proceeded to make a plan. It's already been half an hour and I haven't any of them. I'd like to read my book, but that's not going to be possible with Naruto and Sasuke here. He heard a rustle in the bushes and Naruto walked out. You know, while you may be good, you're not strong enough to take me one by yourself. I'm never by myself, Kakashi, you know that. His hands went into a familiar cross shape, and he shouted, Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2 copies of him appeared and all 3 unsheathed their swords. One of the Narutos slashed horizontally across, shouting Futon. Wind slash. A large wave of wind with the cutting power of the blade flew at Kakashi, who then jumped in the air. You're going to have to do better than that, Naruto. One of the clones had been condensing the air underneath his feet, and once Kakashi was at his peak, the clone jumped Futon. Compression jump. The air pressure released as the clone jumped, launching it into the air. Right when he was slightly below Kakashi, the clone performed the same attack, timing it so that Kakashi would fall into the deadly crescent of wind. It appeared that the attack hit, severing his knees from his body, but as he hit the floor, a poof of smoke appeared at the spot, and when it cleared, a severed log laid in his place. That was good, but he's working by himself still. I'd have thought for sure they figured it out. Just at that moment he heard the distinct sound of a blade being drawn, and he flew out of the tree that was serving as his hiding, a large wave of fire chasing after him. The Jounin landed on the ground with Naruto in front of him and Sasuke behind him. Dobe now! Naruto and Sasuke charged at Kakashi, holding their blades behind them. Futon! Severing tornado, Naruto shouted as he jumped and spun in a circle, landing with his sword point forward. A large tornado appeared and flew forward, destroying the ground as it moved forward. The same Naruto did the Sasuke jumped and slashed downward, shouting, Keton, tremor explosion. As his blade hit the ground, a red crack appeared, moving fast towards Kakashi. He raised the blade, shouting, release, creating an explosion that connected with the tornado, causing an even larger explosion, destroying the area Kakashi had been occupying. At the last moment, he had shunshined into the tree. He smiled to himself, as that certainly counted as teamwork. He then felt a kunai against his head. Got you, Kakashi-sensei, you shouldn't have let your guard down, Sakura said, a large smile appearing on her face. Kakashi smiled and shunshined to the middle of the field. Sakura jumped down and the boys stood by on guard still. You all pass. The point of the exercise, as you figured out, was to work together. In this shinobi world, those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. This exercise was to make sure you all could put yourselves aside and worry about the team as a whole. I'm proud of the three of you. We are now officially Team 7. Congratulations. Chapter 3. You know, when we became Genin, I thought we'd be going on exciting missions, saving lives, kicking bandits' asses. Not chasing after this damn cat twice a day for the 10th day in a row. Naruto screamed as he, Sasuke and Sakura were currently chasing after the bane of all Genin teams. Tora the cat. Come here, you stupid cat. Naruto shouted as he leaped forward, arms outstretched in a vain attempt to catch the cat, as Tora just gained a burst of speed, just barely running away from being captured. The young Namikaze coughed and sputtered, grumbling under his breath as he got a face full of dirty from crashing into the ground instead of catching the cat. Your father is the fastest shinobi alive. You'd think that his son would have inherited that speed, Sasuke shouted at Naruto as he ran forward, continuing the chase with Tora. Stupid team, stupid cat, stupid lady who loves that damn cat too much. Alright, team wants to see speed, fine. Naruto then stood up and closed his eyes as he concentrated and focused chakra, sending it to all his limbs. He opened his eyes and then he was gone. He appeared several yards in front of Sasuke, stopping just inches away from crashing into a tree, with Tora in his arms. He had been working on that technique, a slightly more advanced form of the Shunshin, by pumping more chakra into his body, giving him double the speed of a usual Shunshin, but also less control than he already had, as it gave him awful tunnel vision to the point where he couldn't distinctly see what was in front of him. So up until this try, it ended with him crashing into a tree, going through a few several times. Was that fast enough, team? HN was the Uchiha's only response. He was about to say something else, but Sakura had caught up to them and immediately ran right to Naruto's side. That was so cool, Naruto-ku, and you looked just like the Hokage running that fast. That was great. Yeah, thanks, Sakura, Naruto said as he attempted to slowly scooch away from his rather affectionate teammate. Luckily for him, their sensei arrived as his team had completed their last mission of the day, and it was time to turn all of them in and receive their pay. And he had a special surprise for the 3 genin who had been completing nothing but D ranks, several a day at that, for close to 3 weeks now. Naruto, be careful with that technique. You were inches away from going head first through that tree. Yeah, I know, sensei, I'm still working on it. The 4 of them walked back to the center of the village, giving Tora back to the Fire Daimyo's wife on their way to the mission return center next to Hokage Tower. After they turned in all the missions they had completed that day and then received their pay, Kakashi turned to his team with an eye smile on his face and said, "Alright team, I have a little surprise for you all. As of today, we've done enough D ranks to be allowed to complete a C rank. We have an escort mission and we are leaving tomorrow morning. Finally, I finally get to test my skills against someone," Naruto shouted enthusiastically while jumping in the air. Ah, Naruto, it's a C rank escort, so hopefully we won't encounter anyone. It should be straightforward. We accompany our client to the land of waves and watch him as he finishes building a bridge, then we come back. Simple. At this, Naruto, Sasuke, and even Sakura actually looked disappointed, though she looked less than the boys did. Alright team, we're leaving at 6 in the morning. Go home, let your families now, and pack. I'll see you all tomorrow. And with a smile and a wave, Kakashi was gone in a puff of smoke. Naruto-kun, do you want to go dash? Sorry, Sakura, I have to go train and pack. Oh, Sasuke-kun, do you want to go out to eat right now? She turned and saw that Sasuke was already gone. She then looked back at Naruto with an almost pleading look in her eyes. Great, I guess I have to go with her. Stupid team could have at least told her no or give a reason as to why he couldn't. I can't just walk off now. After that she'd probably be crushed. Alright Sakura, where do you want to HH? Before the Namikaze could finish his sentence, Sakura grabbed his hand and ran, taking off at full speed with Naruto trailing behind her, trying to get his footing after being dragged so forcefully so fast. After a few minutes they arrived at Naruto's favorite place, Ichiraka Ramen. I know this is your favorite place, Naruto-kun, so I figured this would be the best place for our first date, Sakura said with hearts in her eyes while Naruto blushed a deep red hue. Listen Sakura, this isn't a date so much as just two comrades getting something to eat. More like team bonding, okay? He didn't want her getting the wrong idea. While he did think that she was cute, she was still a fangirl and still a weak link in their chain, not someone that he wanted to date or consider dating at the moment. Oh, alright Naruto, just continue to play hard to get. I'll get you on a real date with me one of these days, she said with a smile. Naruto smiled back at her. After that they ordered and ate their meal, doing rather little talking as Sakura just enjoyed his company, while Naruto wasn't too sure what to talk about. Once they finished eating, Naruto paid for the food and told Sakura goodbye. It was already late at night when he got home, the lights on showing that Minato was already home as well. "To-san, I'm home." Minato teleported down to the first story of their house, right in front of Naruto, who had a huge smile on his face as he knew his dad has given them their mission. "Thank you for the mission, To-san. But Kakashi-sensei told me that we probably won't get to fight at all." "What have I told you, Naruto? Don't actively go out seeking violence and enjoy the peace. Fighting and violence and hate should never be sought after. But that's not to say you shouldn't always be prepared for it. That's why we train and get stronger, not to seek it out but to be able to protect our precious people when it does find us." At this, Naruto looked down and offered an apology, as his father had told him this same speech before. He had told him that he was so similar to his mother, who was constantly getting into fights and could be somewhat hot-headed and quick to temper at times. He had told him this with a smile though and said to not change, but tone it down a little, which Naruto had been working on. He was just excited for his first actual mission outside of the village. Minato grabbed his son in a hug and ruffled his hair, eliciting a laugh from his son. Despite being considered an adult by most already, his son was still 12, and after this mission he would assign them more and more C ranks where he will fight and inevitably take a life, and then soon after B's the A's until he was taking S ranks, and all traces of this innocence and childish would be gone, so he'd be damned if he didn't cherish every moment of spending time with his son while he still had his innocence. "Alright, you need to go pack, Naruto, and don't forget to store more chakra into your ring. If you complete this mission, I'm going to teach you a new training method. Sounds good? How about that, and a new jutsu?" "No." Naruto fell on his face at this response. Once he picked himself back up, he glared at his father. "Why not?" "Because with this new technique you'll be able to learn everything much faster than you were before, so this alone is enough reward." You can't teach it to me now? Please, To-san, please." "No." Minato said, then laughed as his son once again fell on his face. "You have to complete your mission. This is your reward for completing it, not being assigned it." Naruto looked at his dad with a frown, then sighed as said he needed to pack. He ran up to his room, while Minato teleported back to the training room where he was currently working on perfecting the Rasengan. After all these years he was still having difficulty combing the jutsu with a chakra nature, given he didn't get to work on it as often as he liked due to his duties as Hokage and training his son taking up a good majority of his time. He created a Rasengan in his right hand, then put his left hand right over it and applied wind nature chakra to it. At first nothing, then he heard a slight humming sound, and then small blades protruded out of the sphere. And then, like every attempt previous, the jutsu exploded and he landed on his back with tears in his clothing. Attempt 25 failure as well. It was at this point he felt a surge of chakra that filled him with dread. He instantly teleported to his son's room, as the only time he had felt something similar was the Kyuubi itself. When he got to Naruto's room, he saw that his son was in a deep meditation and he was drawing on the Kyuubi's chakra and immediately sending it to the ring. Naruto. His son was still in meditation, but with the demonic chakra flowing around him, it was too dangerous to touch him. Thankfully, his son was only in this state for another minute before he opened his eyes to see his dad staring at him with a questioning look. "I'm assuming you're wondering what I was doing?" "Yes, I was If you were to draw on the chakra with the amount you've put in the ring, you'd immediately lose control to the fox, so what exactly are you trying to accomplish? You said I should have chakra stored in here in case of an emergency. Well, if I'm in a fight that actually drains me, then something is definitely wrong, so I've been working on a jutsu that will allow me to shoot rapid bursts of the chakra out of the ring. A final trump card that packs one hell of a punch similar to Bijudama but on a much smaller scale that also shoots much faster. His father thought about this technique. If his son were weakened from chakra exhaustion, then it would be safe to assume that an enemy, rather than killing him with a jutsu, would get up close and use a ninja tool to finish the job. If they were that close, then all Naruto would have to do would be to raise his fist to the enemy and shoot. Being at close enough range, the blast wouldn't even explode, instead would just go right through someone. He looked down and smiled at his son. Well, hopefully you won't have to resort to that technique, but it is a very effective one. Naruto smiled and told his father that he needed to finish packing and then go to sleep. His father again ruffled his hair and told him to be careful. Then he teleported back to the training area to continue his project. The next morning, the Jinchuriki jumped out of bed, got dressed, grabbed his pack, and headed out, opting to, like his godfather, take the window. The second he hit the ground, he took off in a sprint to the gate. Kakashi was already there, being early for once, and soon the other members of their team arrived. After about 10 minutes after everyone arrived, their client, their bridge builder, arrived. "Alright team, this is our client Tazuna. You know, when I paid for an escort, I was expecting actual ninja like you, not 3 children who are still wet behind their ears and their babysitter." As the man said all of this, they could almost see the alcohol on his breath, as even a civilian standing far away could probably smell it while he talked. Kakashi, choosing to answer for his team as they all seemed rather angry and offended for being called children, said, "I assure you, Tazuna-san, my team is more than capable for this mission, and if anything should go wrong, I am an elite, a jounin, so everything will be okay." "Humph, right, well, let's get going then, we're wasting daylight," the old bridge builder answered before he began to walk off out of the gates. The group followed after him and continued to walk. At his current pace, they should arrive at the land before the sun set. The group continued walking with nothing occurring for a few hours until Naruto spotted a puddle in the middle of the path. "It hasn't rained in days, there's no way that's natural, and I can sense a chakra signature. These guys are really bad, but Tusan has told me before the fall of great ninja comes from being too arrogant. I shouldn't underestimate these guys." After thinking this, Naruto then tossed a sideways glance at Sasuke. They gave each other a subtle nod and continued walking past the puddle. Once they passed Sasuke, and Naruto sent chakra to their ears to better hear, and after about 10 steps they heard something make a slight ripple on the water and then heard the sound of a chain. Kakashi jumped in front of everyone. "Protect the bridge builder." He charged at the demon brothers, who managed to get their chain around the jounin and pulled, splitting him in pieces. Naruto saw the log fall though and knew Kakashi was testing them. "Sakura, protect him." Naruto and Sasuke then drew their blades and charged at the brothers. "What are you kids going to do? We just killed your sensei, you guys have no chance." The brothers ran at them with their claws, aiming to hit their hearts. Both boys stopped the attack with their swords and held the brothers at a standstill. Naruto swung up, throwing his opponent's arm upwards, then charging chakra through his blade swung down, cutting right through the chain the brothers had connecting them. Naruto ducked as the brother slashed, and then he thrusted forward. The brother jumped back and to the side, but Naruto's blade was extended with wind chakra, and so he caught the brother on the side, the wind blade sliding right through his flesh. "Arg. You're dead, kid, you hear me? I'm gonna cut your head right from your damn shoulders." Naruto looked at him and smiled, then he charged and jumped over the brother, creating a shadow clone in midair. They kicked off of each other, one in front and the other behind their opponent. "I'd give up now if I were you, otherwise you're going to die." The brother charged at the Naruto in front of him, who he once again attempted to slash at and was stopped by Naruto's blade. The brother looked behind him and saw the clone running at him. He jumped at the last second, avoiding the deadly swipe the clone had made. Seeing an opening, he ran at Sakura and the bridge builder. Naruto saw this and focused chakra to his entire body and ran forward, his sword held pointing forward at his side with both hands. He didn't see as the sword ran his opponent through, as the speed blurred his vision. He only stopped when he felt warm liquid on his hand. The sudden stop caused the brother to jolt forward off Naruto's blade and face first on the ground. He dropped his sword and his whole body became shaky. He looked down and saw the blood covering his hands, then he looked forward and saw the life-giving liquid in a large pool around the now dead demon brother. His breathing came in short spurts and he almost yelled when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He looked up and saw Kakashi looking down on him with a sadness in his eyes. "It's okay, Naruto, it's okay. He would have killed Sakura and the bridge builder if you hadn't done that. We are shinobi and we must kill in our line of work, otherwise we will be killed. That being said, it should never come easily. We are not emotionless killing machines. Are you okay, Naruto?" "Yeah, I will be." He then looked around and saw two other Kakashis, one with Sasuke who was standing over the other demon brother who was covered in burn marks and cauterized blade slashes, probably giving Sasuke the same speech, and the other one was with Sakura and the bridge builder. Sasuke's eyes were wide and he was shaking as well. The trio regrouped and the two extra Kakashi disappeared. "Alright Tazuna, those were B-rank missing Nin. Now tell me everything or me and my team leave you here right now." Tazuna then told them of Gato and how he was destroying his home and the bridge was their only chance. Kakashi sighed and looked down at his team, their faces telling him everything he needed to know. "Alright Tazuna, let's go, we will continue to protect you." The group walked and after a while a mist surrounded the group. After walking a few more miles, they could see a lake in the distance and a boat close by them. Tazuna boarded the boat and Kakashi told them all to stay hidden as Gato had guards keeping watch for shinobi everywhere. After a short boat ride, they arrived to the other side of the lake and got out. "Alright, we're not too far from my house." As he said that, Naruto threw a kunai into the bushes and a white rabbit came running out with its eyes wide open. "What the hell are you doing, do dash? Everyone get down!" Kakashi yelled, grabbing Tazuna as he dropped to the floor as a huge cleaver-like blade flew overhead and embedded itself in the tree right next to them. A tall ninja wearing only black pants and striped leg and arm warmers landed on the giant cleaver-like sword. Kakashi Hatake of the Sharingan Eye and his brats. "I'm assuming you killed the demon brothers then," the mysterious ninja said in a deep and raspy voice. Zabuza Momochi, otherwise known as the Demon of the Mist, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura surround Tazuna, protect him. "I can't afford to hold back against him. I have to end this fast and soon. While Naruto and Sasuke are skilled, they can't fight someone like this." He then reached up and lifted his Hitai 8 up, revealing the blood-red eye with 3 tomo surrounding it. "What? Whose eye is that?" Itachi or Otusan have never said anything about anyone outside of the clan having an Sharingan. Revealing the eye already, Kakashi? "I feel honored that you are going all out in this fight. Ha ha ha, it's been a while since I've been in a fight against another elite shinobi. Let's see what you've got, Kakashi." Zabuza shouted as he jumped down, grabbing the handle of his blade and ripping it from the tree as he ran at full speed at his opponent. Kakashi drew a kunai and charged it with Raton chakra and blocked the downward strike inches before it cleaved his head in two. After a stalemate in strength, the two shinobi jumped away from each other and at the exact same time started an incredibly long chain of seals, Kakashi copying and doing the seals Zabuza was performing instantly. The team of genin could only stare in awe at the ability of Kakashi to be able to copy those seals in an instance. There was absolutely no delay in their execution of seals. Suetun, Water Dragon Jutsu. Both shinobi shouted at the same exact time, creating identical dragons that crashed into each other, showering everyone. A faint outline of a smile could be seen under the wrappings on the demon's face as he performed another seal, and 2 clones of Zabuza rose from the puddles closest to the trio. In an instant, Sasuke and Naruto had their blades drawn. The water everywhere was creating steam once it made contact with Sasuke's blade, making it much harder for him to see. He sent 2 short bursts, turning the fire off, then he channeled chakra to his blade so it would still have added strength and sharpness. The clones did an overhead swing, crashing into the 2 genin's swords, causing them to sink into the wet ground. Naruto sent chakra to his right arm, giving him enough strength to let go with his left arm and create a Rasengan, thrusting forward into the clone, dispelling it but still receiving a gash on his shoulder as his arm gave out at the last second. He ran towards Sasuke, who was still barely managing to hold off the clone. He already had a few minor gashes on his body. Naruto pointed his sword forward and extended the length with wind chakra as fast as he could, attempting to get the clone across its back. Unfortunately, the clone kicked Sasuke away and jumped away out of harm's way. "Kakashi, those brats of yours are better than I thought. The blonde one was able to take out one of them already, and the other one hasn't died yet either," Zabuza said as he and Kakashi again clashed against each other. Zabuza with his blade and Kakashi with 2 kunai now. "Katan, Fireball Jutsu." Both Sasuke and Naruto shouted, trapping the clone with no way to escape. The 2 infernos collided, then dispersed, leaving only steam in the air where the clone had been. Zabuza and Kakashi continued in a fierce jutsu match, but Zabuza was getting the upper hand. It had been a while since Kakashi had fought with a sword. He was out of practice and Zabuza was gaining the advantage. Kakashi swung down as he swung up. Kakashi held the blade down, then sent lightning chakra through his kunai into Zabuza's blade, electrocuting the demon of the mist. He screamed in agony as it burned him. He let go, then stomped on the handle, sending the blade up, break Kakashi's guard. He delivered a savage kick to Kakashi's torso and smiled as he felt at least one rib snap as the kick sent him into the lake. The demon then disappeared and reappeared behind the genin and behind Tazuna. Right as he was about to strike Naruto, and Sasuke turned and thrust forward, nearly getting the demon. He was again gone and appeared next to Sasuke, who he picked up and threw into a tree, knocking him out as he hit his head. Sakura ran at him with a kunai, to which Zabuza just laughed and delivered a swift blow to her stomach, dropping her, leaving her deprived of air. "Just you now, Blondie. If I were you, I'd move away and let me kill the drunk. You'll live longer that way." Naruto looked at the man and realized how outclassed he was. One look and he felt fear, but he felt one other thing. The one thing he pulled on and drew out, creating a small shapeless shroud around him of orange chakra that turned his eyes red and gave his pupils a slit appearance. A Jinchuriki. How well, this will be fun then. Zabuza swung the cleaver and Naruto not only blocked the attack but also cut a bit into the blade, as his sword now had demonic chakra running through it, increasing its strength and cutting power tenfold. Naruto then disappeared and reappeared behind Zabuza. His speed would be almost impossible for most genin and some Chunin to follow. The boy is almost as fast as Haku. Naruto then kicked forward. Zabuza spun around and stabbed the tip of the blade into the ground, blocking the kick. No, he's faster than Haku as he is now. This will be fun. The demon lifted the blade and spun it, throwing Naruto off balance and open. Zabuza dashed forward, delivering an elbow to the demonic boy's stomach, and then he spun, delivering a savage roundhouse to his chin, sending Naruto flying away. As he was walking toward the frightened Tazuna, Kakashi jumped from the lake shouting, "Raton! Lightning gun!" He pointed at Zabuza with his index and middle finger, and a bolt of fast-moving electricity shot towards Zabuza, who jumped away, narrowly missing the attack. As he landed, he heard behind him in a deep, savage voice, "Secret technique. Demonic ring, multiple blasts." Zabuza took off sprinting as Naruto, who was now making a fist and pointing towards Zabuza, shot off blasts of chakra that created small explosions as they made contact with solid objects. Naruto got one right in front of the shinobi, forcing him to jump over it. Naruto then shot at him again, just barely grazing his leg, causing the demon to yell while he was propelled into a tree. The pain as the chakra burn and poison was almost instant, raked through him. Kakashi took advantage of this and threw several kunai into his arms and legs, pinning him to the tree and causing him to yell again in pain. Kakashi walked over to him holding a kunai. "This is your last battle, Zabuza. Make your peace now," Kakashi said as he raised his kunai, holding it right to his heart. Right as he was about to plunge the blade into him, two Sanban came flying and stabbing the demon in the neck, electing a groan from his as his head fell forward and his body slumped, held up only by the kunai. Kakashi turned around and saw a hunter Nin standing in the trees. "Thank you for your help in taking down the demon. Lord Yagura will be very happy as he has many secrets of Kiri." The hunter dropped down and removed the kunai, then picked up his body and threw it over their shoulder. Sasuke and Sakura came to at this point and looked up, seeing the hunter Nin disappear and the last wisps of red chakra fade away from Naruto. "Kakashi-sensei, Naruto-kun," was all Kakashi and Naruto heard before both of their worlds went black. Chapter 4. The Demon of the Mist. They're waking up. Are they okay? Serves them right, trying to be heroes against Gato. "Inari, go to your room." All the voices blurred together and sounded far away to the young Jinchuriki. It was the pain in his right hand that brought him to. It was right on his ring finger, was a dull burning sensation that came in clearly at first, then the voices came in clearer and clearer, and then his eyes opened and the first thing he saw was Sakura, who was inches from his face. "Gah! Sakura, what are you doing?" He felt his face turn red. "Just making sure you're okay, Naruto-kun. You and Kakashi-sensei scared us. Me and Sasuke-kun had to carry him back and Tazuna carried you." "Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said while sitting up and quickly scanned the room, finally landing on his sensei, who was still laying down but had his head turned so he could look at Naruto. "Kakashi-sensei, are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine, Naruto, just a little case of chakra exhaustion," he said with an eye smile. "Tch, he can't move. He woke up about 30 minutes before you and wasn't able to move at all," Sasuke said. How long have we been out? Only a couple of hours, not too long, Sasuke said. Naruto took off his ring to inspect the burning there. The skin was still raw and red, but not as bad as it must have been after he first used it. Have to have Tusen look at that. This could be problematic later on if I continue to use it or use it too much in one go. He then channeled his regular chakra into the ring and the burning went away and his finger healed almost instantly. The seals can't properly filter out Bijou chakra. Tusen should be able to fix that, but I'm going to have to bear with it until we get back. Kakashi, you said you have chakra exhaustion, right? Yes, why? Naruto then channeled more chakra into the ring and made a fist pointing at Kakashi. Wisps of chakra were visible as they arced into the stone, then flew out in a thin stream into Kakashi. Tell me when you have enough chakra, sensei. The seals on the ring also allowed chakra to be shared between Naruto and others so he could also replenish their chakra supplies if the need were to arise. After a few minutes, Kakashi was able to sit up. Then, after about 5, he was able to stand and told Naruto to cut the flow. Even after all that, Naruto hadn't even broken a sweat or looked tired at all. Much better, thank you, Naruto. Before Naruto could respond, Tazuna yelled from downstairs that breakfast was ready, making the team realize how hungry they all actually were. Tsunami, these are the ninja that I hired to save us. The adult is Kakashi. The pink one is Sakura. The one with black hair is Sasuke. And the blonde one is Naruto. Pleasure to meet you all. Thank you for coming to our aid. As you know by now, Gato will destroy this place, and it will become just another source of money for that evil man. Tsunami said with a hint of sadness in her voice. Don't worry, Tsunami-san, we will defeat Gato and save this place. Naruto said with a smile that quickly fell from his face as a little boy came down from the stairs and shouted at them with tears in his eyes. You all are idiots, there's no such thing as a hero. Gato will kill you all, and then he will continue with his plans. You all should just leave before you die. Inari, enough of that. Tazuna yelled at his grandson. Inari then ran up to his room and slammed the door shut with a loud bang. I'm sorry about that. Inari's stepfather was killed in a public execution. He was considered a hero by the people of this land, and seeing him killed like that for trying to oppose Gato destroyed Inari and the people's hope. Many of them had given up until my father began to build the bridge, bringing everyone's hope back. But Inari, well, you've just seen how he is still. Tsunami said, tears threatening to fall down her face. We will defeat him, and with that bring back Inari's hope. I promise you that, Tsunami-san. Kakashi said, looking at the hopeful faces of his team. The team then ate their breakfast made by Tsunami, then went out into the woods to train. Kakashi needed to work on their teamwork somewhere and teach Sakura chakra control techniques and hopefully some jutsu. Alright, Naruto. Sasuke, I'm fairly sure you both know how to tree walk. Both boys nodded. Alright, Sakura, I need to work on that with you. In the meantime, I want both of you to work on chakra control exercises. Your chakra control can never be too good, and I have a few jutsu I want to teach you. I have a 1000 after all, he said with an eye smile. The boys then went to work sticking as many leaves as possible to their bodies while running on water, as there was a small pond next to where they were training at. Kakashi then showed Sakura the tree walking exercise and told her how to accomplish it, and to his shock, she made it up halfway on the first time. She has incredible chakra control. It shouldn't take too long for her to get this down. She'd be good with genjutsu, and any techniques that are within her capabilities should be learned rather fast. I wish I had chakra papers with me so I could start her off on her elemental training. I want to train the boys in another jutsu. I'll teach Naruto a wind jutsu and Sasuke another fire. Their collaborations are good. Another one won't hurt. The copy ninja looked out at the boys running on water and Sakura running up the tree, steadily getting farther each time. He figured no better time than now to read his book, and he plopped down next to a tree and pulled his book out. After an hour, he heard someone walking over to him and looked up, seeing Sakura. He then looked behind her and saw a slash across the very top of the tree. He called the boys over as well from their chakra exercises. All right, Team Zabuza isn't dead. There wasn't a look of shock on any of their faces. We figured that Hunter Nin don't use Senbon, and they didn't strike the jugular or his spine. The fake Hunter Nin is his partner, Sasuke said. Yes, exactly, and it takes skill to throw Senbon for precision like that. They could have very easily hit somewhere vital, and well, that would be the end of the demon. So Sakura, I'm going to work with you on your taijutsu, and Naruto. Sasuke, I'm going to teach you both new jutsu for a collaboration technique. Naruto, I'll teach you wind bullet, and Sasuke, I'll teach you fire bomb. Combined, that should create a very fast, very deadly firestorm. Kakashi then created 2 clones to go work with each genin. The main one went with Sakura as he felt she needed his attention the most. Alright Sakura, I'm going to block, and I want you to hit me dead center of the block with everything you have. I need to see how strong you are first. She nodded, then reared back and threw a punch forward, pushing Kakashi back by 5 feet, surprising the hell out of him. She's strong. If she keeps working at this, her strength will be quite devastating. Not something anyone would want to be on the receiving end of. With this knowledge in mind, Kakashi began teaching her a new taijutsu style, as she only knew of the one taught at the academy. This style focused on fast and powerful punches that aimed at vital points on the body to disable and kill opponents. He wanted her to at least have the style first and then work on her speed as her expertise grew. One of the clones took Naruto aside and showed him the jutsu first, then the seals. Alright Naruto, I want you to get to the point where you don't have to hit your stomach to launch the bullet. This will decrease the time it will take to launch the attack, and if you don't have to rely on that to propel the bullet, the strength of it should be better than if you did rely on hitting your stomach. So I want you to perform the seals, then immediately take in as much air as you can hold. While doing this, focus the chakra to your lungs at first and hold it there. Form it into a ball holding the air together, then just like exhaling but not everything at once, release a small portion of it, trail the chakra up your throat and have everything explode out of your mouth. Naruto did all of this, and his first attempt, a small ball of compressed air shot out and dented into a tree. Alright, good, you have the general idea of it. Now just have to get everything down into its final form, just keep practicing. But that was a good first attempt. The clone with Sasuke took him to the edge of the pond as they were in the woods and didn't want to set the place aflame. Alright Sasuke, you should have a pretty good grasp of fire jutsu. This one is more like a combination of the phoenix flower jutsu and the fireball jutsu. You start off as you would with the phoenix flower jutsu, but then add more chakra and create only one ball of fire. Condense the chakra down and focus on increasing the strength while creating the ball as small as possible, then shoot it out as fast as possible. When it collides with an object, it should expand then explode. The more power, the larger the explosion. Kakashi then performed the technique shouting Ketan. Fire bomb jutsu, launching the small ball into the water. Nothing happened at first, then all of the water around where the ball had landed shot up violently. Alright, now that you've seen it, you try. Sasuke did as he was told and shot out a larger ball into the water. The explosion was less than Kakashi's, but still a decent size. Good, you have the general idea, just work on condensing it and shooting it faster. Naruto's wind bullet will be flying quite fast, so you won't have much time to combine them. The trio worked on their new techniques all day until night fell, and it was time to go back to Tsunami's house. Each genin was making fast progress with their skills, but Tsuzuno went back to building the next day, meaning one of them would go with Kakashi to help keep watch while the other two stayed and trained. Alright, dinner is ready everyone, Tsunami said as the team walked into the house. For thank yous were heard as each member of the team gave one. Sakura, do you have any problems with keeping watch with me tomorrow? Kakashi asked. No sensei, that's fine, and I can still train some while we're watching. This mission had really put things in perspective for the girl, as she had been completely useless in both fights and had to rely on her two loves to rescue her. She knew they wouldn't love someone weak, and so promised herself that she'd begin taking this seriously and train hard to get strong enough for one or both, preferably both, to fall in love. I'm going back out to train a little more, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto announced just as he finished his food. He then washed and put the plate away before leaving to go back into the woods where he would train until falling asleep out there. A girl, maybe a year or two older than Naruto, wearing a pink kimono that had designs of flowers on them, was walking around the woods. She was carrying a woven basket on her left arm that had been filled with various herbs, and by the looks of it, she was still looking for others. That is, until she saw someone asleep in the grass. That's the boy who injured Zabuza-sama. Because of him, he was suffering chakra poisoning. I almost lost him from that. If he had any less chakra, the poison would have killed him. She then pulled out 2 sanbon and put them between her fingers. As she was about to throw them, Naruto stirred, and quick as lightning she hid the weapons and walked out in front of him. Naruto woke up to seeing a beautiful girl right in front of him. As he was just barely waking up and not thinking properly, he muttered "angel," causing the girl to turn a shade of red. He opened his eyes and turned beet red at the realization of what he just said. He immediately shot up, causing the girl to stumble back slightly. Hello there," Naruto said with a hint of curiosity in his voice. "I'm sorry for disturbing you. I was out here collecting herbs, and well, it's not all too often you see someone asleep out in the woods." Yeah, I kind of fell asleep out here after training." You're a shinobi?" He looked around and saw the signs of destruction from him trying to perfect the drilling wind bullet. Yeah, pretty obvious that I'm one. Yes, I am, he said with a smile and pride in his voice. You must be very powerful. The damage to this area is quite impressive. He thanks, I'm always trying to get stronger. If I may ask, why are you out here? I'm out collecting different herbs. What are they for? My father was attacked by Gato's men. We don't have enough money to go to the doctors, but I know a bit about which plants help along healing. Missions are supposed to be kept secret from others, but these people need hope and need to know Gato's control over this place will soon end. These people don't need to live in fear anymore, and what can be the harm? She's a civilian and she's been affected by Gato and his men even more than others. I'm on a mission actually. In a few days you won't have to be afraid of Gato. I'm here to protect the bridge builder. You're so young, taking on such a task can't be easy for you. I'm a shinobi. The second I earned my Hitai-8 I became an adult. Age itself doesn't matter in this life. There's children who are stronger than my sensei, and taking on this mission will make me stronger as well. Why do you want to get stronger? Do you have someone precious in your life? Images flashed through his head of his friends and family. Yeah, I have a lot of people that are precious to me that I want to be able to protect one day. That's good. You find true strength when you fight for someone precious other than yourself. You push more and use everything that you have to protect them. Yeah, I believe that too. I don't believe I know your name? I'm Haku. Naruto. Well, Naruto, I enjoyed talking to you. I must be on my way though. My father is expecting me back soon. I'd like to talk to you again soon, Haku. Maybe tomorrow around the same time? Maybe, Naruto, I do hope so, and just so you know, I'm a boy. The blonde froze at this, then focused chakra to his nose. No, you're not. I thought I smelled something before, but now I know for sure it's coming from you. You're wearing a perfume, and actually there's a faint outline of bindings under your kimono, he said with a small grin as his new friend seemed taken aback by this. Well, you are observant. I say that because because of Gato's men, right? Yes, because of them. The new friends parted ways and walked back to where they were expected. Where were you at, Dobe? Just training, team. You need to pick up the slack, otherwise my jutsu will overpower yours. He looked over at Naruto and saw he seemed to be distracted, and the grin he had on wasn't the same one he wore while he insulted Sasuke. HN was his response as Naruto walked away. The days passed by, and each morning Naruto and Haku met with each other and talked, just about anything. He began to trust her more and told her bits and pieces of his life, while she did the same, revealing that she and her father were refugees from Kiri to escape the war. They hadn't been fearful or held hate for bloodline users, and so they were forced to flee or be executed. He told her that his mother was killed shortly after he was born, and of his rivalry with Sasuke and general life as a ninja. They talked about their interests and hopes and wants for the future. For Naruto to become Hokage, and for Haku to finally find a peaceful life and protect anyone she would come to find precious. He didn't know when it had happened, but after a while he couldn't see her without blushing at first. And after that he realized she was the prettiest girl he'd ever seen. She soon began blushing almost every time they made eye contact. But the thought kept lingering in the back of her head, making it hurt when she looked at him. She knew she would have to fight him soon, but hopefully she could fight him before Zabuza got to him, at least that way he'd live. She was so angry with herself to let him slowly worm his way into her and become someone she cared for. The days soon came and went until it was their last meeting. Kakashi had told the team the night before to be prepared. Zabuza had enough time to heal and he'd be making his move soon. Haku knew they were attacking the next day and she was so tempted to tell him everything, but she steeled herself and held her tongue. They were so close to accomplishing Zabuza's, and as a byproduct her goal, to finally assassinate Yagura and take back control of Kiri. They needed the money from this job, though, so they could get the last resources they needed. The ends justified the means, as Zabuza told her when she was required to kill Haku-chan. Naruto-kun, they both said at the same time. Go first, Naruto. Our mission should be over soon, so there's a possibility that I won't be able to see you, so this is it. Thank you, Haku-chan, for everything. Thank you as well, Naruto-kun. Maybe we will see each other soon. He went in to hug her, but at the last moment she put her hands on his face and pulled him in. Their lips met. His brain shut off for a few seconds. Then, after he realized what was happening, he closed his eyes and kissed her back, their arms wrapping around each other in a tight embrace. For a moment nothing else existed for either of them, no missions, no gato, no ninjas. Only them. And that's all that mattered for the time. Then it ended, their lips separating and their foreheads resting on each other's as they looked at each other. A deep caring and passion in their eyes. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," she said then. Before he could say anything back, she let go and walked away from the boy she fell in love with, tears threatening to fall down her face. He looked at her as she walked away, and it clicked that he wouldn't be seeing her for a very long time. He can't exactly leave the village to come here whenever he wanted to. The first girl whose feelings for him he reciprocated, and he wouldn't see her again. He began to feel a dull ache in his chest while watching her walk away. He stayed there until he couldn't see her anymore. After a bit, a small thin smile came across his face and he touched his lips. A bittersweet moment for him in every sense. He walked back to the house, the same smile still etched on his face. "Something happen out there, Naruto?" Kakashi asked, a smile underneath his mask. The last few days Naruto had come back smelling of lavender, and now he had that smile on his face, the same smile his father had whenever he would talk about or see Kushina. "How you say something, Kakashi-sensei?" Kakashi raised an eyebrow at his student and looked at him with a smile underneath his mask. "We're on a mission, Naruto. You shouldn't be getting involved like this. Live and learn, I suppose. But he will have to learn the ways of a shinobi soon. Something like this can prove dangerous on missions. We have to be emotionless in certain situations." He didn't voice any of these thoughts, though. He already knew Naruto would find this out once they left, and he would no longer see the girl. He was pretty sure that Naruto already knew this, but it would hit him in full force once they arrived home. "Naruto, go get Sasuke and Sakura. They're out back training. Still, I need to talk to you all." Naruto went out and told them to come inside. Him and Sasuke had been working on their jutsu, although Naruto's was still stronger as he had been working on it more and had more chakra to pump into it, but overall their collaboration technique was good and was quite powerful. Sakura had been working on her taijutsu, trying to make it stronger and stronger, which had come with some success. Her attacks were stronger than before, but she had a lot to work on. That being said, a direct hit in the right area would hurt a lot, and if a genin were to take one, they'd most likely end up with a few broken bones. The trio gathered inside and their sensei looked at them. The previous joking manner he had now gone replaced with the deadly seriousness of a shinobi. "Tomorrow will most likely be it. Tazuna doesn't need much longer to finish the bridge, and Zabuza will have had enough time to completely heal from everything, so you all need to be prepared and ready for another fight. This is a different battleground now. He knows our skills and he'll have his partner with him. We all need to be at 100%, so that's enough training for now. Make sure you have all your equipment and we'll go over battle strategies." They agreed upon Naruto and Sasuke taking on Zabuza's partner and Kakashi taking on Zabuza himself. Sakura would guard Tazuna. Naruto would only call upon the Kyuubi if it was absolutely necessary, and they prayed to Kami that the situation wouldn't arise. They spent the rest of the day going over different strategies for fighting, but it was hard since they had no idea what Zabuza's partner's abilities are. The next day, the group arrived at the bridge. An unnatural and thick, stifling mist hung around the entire area. "This isn't normal. Team, get close and cover Tazuna." Hidden mist jutsu. A demonic raspy voice echoed throughout the entire area. The mist thickened to the point where it was almost impossible to see in front of them. Then two figures walked forward, the mist moving away from them, allowing the team and a frightened Tazuna to see them as they walked forward. "Time for a rematch, Kakashi." Zabuza looked down at his partner. "Go take care of the three genin." Zabuza and Kakashi dashed forward just as Haku dashed towards the trio guarding Tazuna. Zabuza's blade slashed through the air and Kakashi's kunai sparked to life. As they clashed, Zabuza increased the chakra in the jutsu, completing concealing himself again. "Your eye will do you no good here, Kakashi. I don't need to see you to defeat you. You should worry about your brats. Haku will kill them. I've trained the perfect weapon. I wouldn't worry about them. Naruto and Sasuke together can handle themselves. They have been trained by some of the best in Konoha." While Zabuza and Kakashi clashed against each other, Haku had been throwing senbon at Naruto and Sasuke, trying to separate them from Tazuna. The mist made it hard to see, but they could still hear the sound of the needles flying towards them, their blades blocking each senbon before it hit Tazuna. The mist then cleared from them, giving perfect sight of Haku right as she yelled, "Secret jutsu. 1,000 needles of death." "Move!" Naruto yelled. Sakura grabbed Tazuna and jumped one way while Naruto and Sasuke both jumped towards the fake Hunter Nin, barely avoiding the needles as they ran towards her, attempting to strike the ninja down. Futon, crescent slash. Katan, crescent slash. The boys yelled at the same time, opting to try the new version of their justice. The waves now were only the length of their blades instead of the length of the slash itself, but they were more curved, increasing the speed and power of the attacks. The attacks hit the spot Haku had occupied, resulting in deep slashes on the area, but Haku had dodged the attack completely. I can't afford to take chances with you too. I'll have to use my trump card, Hayatan. Demonic ice mirrors. A dome of mirrors appeared around the boys, trapping them in. The fake Hunter Nin then walked into one of the mirrors and appeared on each one, not giving away her actual position. Hayatan. No, please no. That's a Kekii Genkai that was found in Kiri. Please don't let it be her. A refugee from Kiri with only her father. She knew how to apply medicinal herbs. The last time I saw her, I could have sworn I saw tears dropping while she walked away. Please don't let it be her. Please, Kami, no. Naruto could no longer dwell on his thoughts as his and Sasuke's opponent began throwing kunai from seemingly everywhere. Naruto, the mirrors are ice. Right? Katan, fireball jutsu. Katan, fireball jutsu. The justice combined, making an even larger fireball that crashed into the dome. When the flames cleared though, the mirrors were perfectly fine, not a scratch on them. You're going to have to try harder than that to break my mirrors. Naruto dashed forward, his sword glowing with the amount of wind chakra going through it. He slashed once he was close enough to a mirror. The mirror stopped the blade dead in its tracks and earned Naruto several senbon to his body. He looked at Sasuke and nodded his head. They performed the seals and shouted. Futon, drilling wind bullet. Katan, fire bomb jutsu. The techniques shot forward, and once they combined, the boys shouted, collaboration technique. Fire bomb bullet. The small ball of condensed flames combined with the spinning bullet and shot forward at incredible speeds, smashing into the mirror and causing a large explosion, creating several cracks in the mirror. The boys saw this and shot towards it. Just as they were about to reach the mirror, the Hunter Nin appeared in front of them and launched more senbon, each one striking the boys, sending them flying back. You can't defeat me. Both of you just admit defeat now and I won't be forced to kill you, their opponent said in a flat and cold voice. I have a few more aces, but this one should do the trick, Naruto said as he held out his hand, forming a rapidly spinning blue ball of pure chakra. He ran forward and Sasuke attempted to follow Haku's movements so he could send out blasts of fire to block the incoming senbon towards Naruto as he ran towards a mirror. As he got closer, Haku threw more and more senbon, making it harder and harder for Sasuke to keep track until he felt a burning in his eyes, and suddenly time seemed to slow down and he could see her movements easier and easier and see the senbon going forward. Sasuke blocked the attacks with ease, and just as Naruto slammed his attack into a mirror shouting Rasengan and shattering it, Haku shouted Hayatan ice needles and rapidly formed needles, completely surrounding Sasuke. They all simultaneously slammed into Sasuke, proving to be too many for the young genin to dodge. As Naruto went through the mirror to the other side of the dome, he turned around to see blood fly out of Sasuke's mouth and watched him fall to the ground, landing so that Naruto couldn't see his face. No, Sasuke, no, Naruto yelled. He was a powerful opponent, but Zabuza-sama gave me an order that I needed to fulfill. I am sorry. Naruto felt a burning around him and a deep rage, more so than he had ever felt before, and everything seemed to be tinged red. He looked at the mirrors and could see which one his opponent was in. Before Haku could jump to another mirror, his tail slammed into it, shattering the mirror and wrapping around her. The tail burned her. It lifted her up, then slammed her down into the bridge, creating cracks where she hit. I'll kill you. And before Haku could even get up, she felt contact on her stomach. Then she was up in the air, Naruto's leg outstretched. Before she could even reach the peak of her ascent, his tail shot forth and grabbed her ankle, pulling her down and slamming her into the bridge yet again. Naruto, I'm so sorry. Zabuza, I failed you. I can't defeat this boy. He's something else completely. Naruto, I'm sorry for falling in love with you, then taking on of your most precious people. Die! Naruto shouted as he ran forward and picked Haku up with one hand before launching her again with a punch to the stomach. She landed with her face to the ground and stayed there. Get up, I'm not done with you yet. With the last of her strength, she stood up and watched as Naruto's tail came towards her, pointed right at her heart. Before it could make contact, her cracked mask finally fell, revealing her face. His tail stopped inches before it punctured the kunoichi. "Haku, why?" he said, his voice still deeper than usual, sounding more feral. "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, everything between us was never supposed to happen." She looked into his eyes again, and through the anger she saw something even worse. The sadness in his eyes. A deep and crushing sadness that she shared with him. "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. Our fight is over now. Zabuza-sama still needs me." She then ran forward and threw Senbon at him to distract him, if only for a second. He felt the chakra though and dashed forward, seeing Kakashi's jutsu go forward and Haku appear in front of Zabuza. "No!" he yelled as he jumped in between them, grabbing Kakashi's arm, diverting him to the left and pushing Haku to the right. Kakashi felt the burning in his arm and looked with shock at Naruto's cloak. Naruto's tail acted at the same time, wrapping around Zabuza's neck and lifting him slightly off the ground. His tail began to restrict around the demon's neck, but before he could finish him, a clapping echoed out as the mist cleared, revealing a very short man wearing a black suit and sunglasses despite the mist. "Good, kill him, it will save us the trouble of doing so," the man said as the mist cleared more and more, showing a small army of men behind him. Naruto dropped Zabuza, who fell to his knees while massaging his burning throat. "Well, Kakashi, it looks like we're on the same side now." He then looked to Naruto and pointed at Gato. "Hey kid, that's Gato, sick him," Zabuza said, a smile underneath the wrappings covering his mouth. At this, Naruto, who was being corrupted more by the QB every second that passed, dashed forward faster than anyone other than the ninja could follow. Before his army could process what happened, Naruto had Gato by the throat at the end of the bridge, the smell of burning flesh already seeping through the air. "Kid, don't do this. I could make you rich. I could give you everything you want. Anything you could ever want, just let me live," Gato pleaded as his throat burned. Naruto dropped him down. Smart kid, now, once you kill those guys over there, I'll give you anything." "You know what I want?" "What, kid?" "Anything, and it's yours." "Your death." Naruto then created a Rasengan and connected it with Gato's stomach and extended his cloak, stretching the arm out well over the sea as the ball tore away at Gato's stomach, ripping apart his innards and grinding his bones to dust. Once Gato's screams stopped, Naruto ended the jutsu, letting the destroyed body fall into the ocean. He then turned around and looked at the army, then dashed forward, 2 new Rasengan already formed. He slammed the Rasengan into multiple people and used his tail to impale others, going through several people at a time. Even if the initial stab didn't kill them, the burning did. He used his claws to slash the men down, hearing nothing but screams and flesh being torn from bone. Soon no one was left. Only Naruto stood among the destroyed remains of the men, gore covering the entire area and the stench of burned flesh in the air. He looked around and saw Sakura holding Sasuke, who was awake now. Then his eyes moved to Haku, who looked at him with fear. The cloak faded and he dropped to his hands and knees and threw up, the impact of his actions hitting him. He stayed on his hands and knees until he heard footsteps walking towards him. He looked up at Kakashi, who had his arm outreached. Naruto grabbed his hand and Kakashi pulled him up. As he stood up, he began to hear the sound of cheering and looked to the beginning of the bridge, where he saw the whole village gathered cheering at the defeat of Gato and his army. "You're a hero, Naruto," Kakashi said. "I'm a monster." "No, you're not. Killing is part of our job, Naruto. These men were evil, there was no redemption for them, and you were under the influence of the QB, feeding and increasing your hate. I'm sorry you had to use the cloak for the first time in an environment like this. You can't blame yourself, you've never used it before, and couldn't have known how much influence it would put on you." "Thank you, Sensei. What happens to them?" he asked, pointing towards Haku and Zabuza. "Well, that's up to them. They are no longer our enemies, and your opponent didn't kill Sasuke. She put him in a death-like state." Naruto walked over to them and looked at Zabuza, then briefly at Haku before he stuck his hand out to Zabuza, who looked at him curiously before shaking his hand. "Haku deserves better than you. I hope you know that she loves you as a father, and you treat her as a weapon and nothing more. She could have died while fighting me. I almost killed her, but I refrained, and after everything that happened to her, she still ran to save you," Naruto said, looking at the man. They heard a thud and Zabuza turned around, seeing Haku on the floor, her eyes closed and her breathing shallow. Zabuza bent down quickly to feel her pulse to make sure it was steady. His muscles tensed before he picked her up. "Damn you, boy, you don't know what you're talking about. Help me find someone who can treat her, and fast now." They ran into the crowd, many people regarding Zabuza with fear. Soon they found a doctor and Haku was rushed into the small hospital where they went about setting her broken bones while Zabuza ran in search of the herbs she had used to help with his chakra poisoning. Once he found them, he gave them to the doctors who administered them. Once they said her vitals were stable, they all left the hospital as Haku would have to remain there for at the very least a week until she could move again, and even at that she won't be able to move for that long. Well, Kakashi, we are no longer enemies. I have a debt to pay to your damn brat, so we will stay and help with the construction of the bridge, Zabuza said for once with no hint of malice in his voice. Start treating her like a daughter, Naruto told him as he walked away. That kid has a unique ability, Kakashi. Yes, I know. Everyone who is around him can't help but inevitably liking him. Naruto walked over to Sasuke and Sakura. You okay, team? He asked the raven-haired teen who was walking with a slight limp and had a certain Pinky next to him with her arms wrapped around him despite his rather loud protests. Yeah, I'm fine, dope, Sakura get OFF. Sakura just smiled and wrapped her other arm around Naruto and pulled him in close as well as Sasuke. We did it, we won, she said with a smile, getting the same reaction out of her two teammates who allowed the Pinkett to hug them longer for once. After the battle had taken place, it only took a few more days for Tazuna to finally complete the bridge, the process being accelerated by Naruto's hundreds of clones helping where they could. Once Haku was let out of the hospital, she stayed at Tsunami's house along with Zabuza as well. Naruto had refused to talk to her, and he did all he could to avoid coming into contact with her. He was hurt deeply. Someone he trusted had turned against him and almost killed his best friend. Inari was finally happy again and thanked Naruto for saving his village. In return, Naruto, who took a liking to the young boy, gave him a kunai and began teaching him how to fight with it. The day came that the bridge was finally completed and open for use. Everyone was celebrating again, almost everyone, that is, except for Naruto and Haku, who were still hurting. They all said their goodbyes to Tsunami, Tazuna, and Inari, who had tears in his eyes as he said goodbye to the heroes. The team from Konoha and the mercenary and his apprentice all walked down the bridge. They reached the edge of the bridge, which connected to the Land of Fire's border. Do you two know where you will go from here? Kakashi asked the two. For once, we don't. I suppose to another village in search of mercenary work, Zabuza replied. Naruto looked at them and made a decision he had been thinking on for a while. My last name is Namikaze. I'm fairly sure I can convince Tusan of this too. You both are invited to come with us and become shinobi for Konoha. Zabuza, you're only a missing nin because you staged a coup on Yagura, and in Konoha's eyes will not be seen as a dangerous crime. Zabuza looked at the boy. He was suspicious of his parentage before he told him his last name. After all, the boy was almost a spitting image of the yellow flash. He looked down to Haku. Well, what do you say, Haku? It would be nice to not be on the run for once, Zabuza-sama. Haku-sensei is fine. Well, boy, it looks like we're taking you up on your offer. Naruto looked at Haku, who offered him a smile. He turned away and began walking. The rest followed after him on their way back home. After a long trip, they were all different and had all changed for better or worse. They were no longer the same people that left. Chapter 5: Training for the Exams. Only you, Naruto. Minato then let out a sigh that turned into a small chuckle towards the end. Currently he had Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, and to his immense shock and surprise, Zabuza Momochi and his partner Haku. The team had just given their mission briefing, ended it with Zabuza himself asking to become a ninja of Konoha. In return, he had promised to give all information he had on Yagura and his plans. It's days like these where I want to pick a successor and retire. Alright, I want some clarifications. Zabuza and Haku, may you please step outside briefly, and Sasuke and Sakura, you two are dismissed. The two genin gave a bow, then gave their thanks. Sasuke-kun, how about we go somewhere to eat? No, I need to train. Well, how about we train together? Please, she asked with a smile, getting uncomfortably close to the Uchiha. HN was all he offered as a response, to which she took as a yes and followed after the poor boy. Zabuza and Haku stepped outside and the doors closed the second they were completely out of the room. Alright, Naruto, what happened on the bridge? I thought Haku had killed Sasuke. I saw him hit the ground and I became angry, far angrier than I had ever been. I felt a slight burning on my stomach coming from the seal, and then everything was tinged red. By the time Gato came along, I could faintly hear the Kyuubi talking to me, telling me to kill Gato then the rest of his men. Once I saw Sasuke getting up, I calmed down and the cloak faded away. Minato sighed and looked at his son. He was different and he knew something besides the killing had taken place. The way he talked about Haku was different than how he talked about anyone else. Well, I was hoping to begin training you with the cloak after the exams, but Jiraiya-sensei will be back soon, so once he comes back we will begin at the very least teaching you how to control it should it come out again. If you pass the exams we will teach you how to draw on it. Naruto gave a nod, then remembered his father's promise before he left on his mission. Don't forget your promise too, San. You said you'd teach me a new training method, he said with a small grin. Yes, I know, Naruto, I plan on teaching you the method tonight, Minato said with a smile. His face then shifted and his manner became serious again. Kakashi, can he be trusted? And would you vouch for him to become a shinobi of this village? After viewing his behavior, I'd honestly say yes on both accounts. He has changed, he's most likely tired of constantly being on the run, and he was exiled for a rather noble cause. He will make a nice addition to our forces, as would his apprentice. I would say she's high Chunin in rank. Alright, you two are dismissed. Tell them to come in when you leave. The two left and Zabuza and Haku walked back into the Hokage's office. Alright, after hearing what everyone has said about you two, I have decided to allow you both to stay in the village. You both will be on a probation period where you will not be allowed to take on any missions. Once the probation period is over, and that will be once the Chunin exams finish, I will have you two fight two opponents. Defeating your opponents will determine your rank. Zabuza, you will fight one of our Jounin, and Haku, your fight will be against a Chunin. You both can train and will be recognized as shinobi of this village from here on out. We do have a few compounds available, so I will have an Umbu show you to your new living areas, and after that I will send Naruto over to give you both a tour. During this time, Minato had been filling out some paperwork. He wrote out a last few sentences, then looked up and gave the papers to Zabuza. Does everything look right? Yes, it is fine. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Alright, well, I hereby register. He looked over to Zabuza. Oh, Zabuza Momochi. And he then looked over to Haku. Haku, was all she said. Zabuza looked at her and gave a slight smile. Haku Momochi. As shinobi of Konohagakure. Alright, Zabuza, Haku will be registered as as my daughter. At this, Haku looked up at him with shock at first that morphed into a smile. Minato looked at them with a smile. Well, that changes things. Haku, you have the Hayaton, and as such you qualify for becoming a clan. As there is no Momochi clan on records, you two will be able to create your clan crest, which will then be placed on each building of your compound. And Zabuza, you will be clan head and as such are given a seat on the council. On behalf of Konoha, I welcome the Momochi clan. Haku looked at Minato with a large smile and was tempted to run and give him a hug. A home. Finally, we have a place to call home. Zabuza looked at Minato and gave a small nod, and a rare, non-bloodthirsty smile graced his face. But of course no one could see this as, just like Kakashi, he kept the lower part of his face covered almost always. You will find on of my Umbu waiting for you two outside of the tower, where they will then lead you to your new compound. They both gave a bow and a thank you, then they walked out, beginning their new lives. Minato sat back down in his chair and looked to a nearby window that was wide open. He just sighed slightly and looked back at the window with a smile. Do you agree with my decision, sensei? Jiraiya dropped his chameleon jutsu and looked at Minato with a smile. They'll be a good addition to the village. You've been a great Hokage, Minato. Thank you, Jiraiya-sensei. But you know you'd make a good Hokage as well. Jiraiya gave a boisterous laugh as the image of him in his robes while peeping on women came to mind. You know it's not the job for me, Minato, however Tsunadeheim will be back for the exams, and she has been coming around more often. Perhaps this place is starting to grow on her again. You would be the one to convince her to take the job. Perhaps. I've been at this job for 15 years now. I'm getting ready to retire soon. I need to start focusing more time on Naruto and training him more. Yeah, a C rank to an A rank, it's unheard of. He's strong though, very few genin could have survived that. You've done well training him, you and Itachi. His seal is loosening. He needs to get stronger though, it's too early to train him for Ninetales chakra mode. Well, he'll only get stronger from here on out, and at the rate he's advancing it won't be long before he is ready. Anyways, the whole reason I'm here was to see how the Chunin exams are coming along. At this, Minato gained a wide smile as he pulled letters from on top of his desk and displayed them out for Jiraiya. I sent an open invitation to everyone, and surprisingly many responded back. This is going to be the biggest in a while. It'll be us, Suna, Kumo, Taki, Kusa, Aim, a new village called Odo, and surprisingly Kiri. Watch out for the leader of Odo. Orochimaru conducts a lot of business in the land of rice fields, so a hidden village that pops up there is rather suspicious. Thank you, I will make sure to keep an eye out. I'm gonna need your help with something though. With so many villages coming in, we couldn't decide on one location, so the first part will be in Suna and handled by their proctor. The second stage takes place immediately afterwards, as you know, but it takes place along ours and Taki's border. So there will be sending seals in Suna and summoning at the border, so I will need your help in creating them as they will be on such a large scale. A rather ambitious project, Minato. I look forward to seeing it. What's the second round? That's a secret, you'll have to wait and see. It's classified, only a few people know about it. Jiraiya looked at him with a frown. My own student keeping secrets from me after everything I've done for him, he said in mock sadness, complete with tears falling down his face. Minato just face-palmed at his sensei and father figure's antics. So you will help me? Yes, of course I will. The exams are in a month. Have you started working on the seals? Yes, I've been teleporting between here, Suna, and Taki. So I'll be splitting my time between trading the Gaki and helping with the seals and research. Alright, sounds good. Well, I'll just leave a shadow clone here. I'm gonna show Naruto how to use the full potential of his shadow clones. Do you want to come? It's been a while since you've seen your godson. Yeah, the Gaki's an adult now. Perfect, I can start taking him with me to do research, Jiraiya said with a grin. Oh, please don't do that to my son. The two went back to the Namikaze estate where they found Naruto in the training room working on his kenjutsu with a clone. Ero Senin, when'd you get back? Naruto said with a smile as he went and hugged his godfather. Damn it, Gaki, didn't your father teach you any respect? Yeah, of course he did. But you're a pervert and therefore don't exactly get the same amount of respect despite your status as one of the most powerful ninja. Naruto said with a smile and a laugh as his godfather face faltered, then came back up with tears streaming down his face. You and Minato treat me with so little respect. Oh, where did I go wrong? He said in a largely exaggerated dramatic voice. Alright Naruto, now time for your new training technique. Yes, finally, Naruto said with a wide smile. Minato gained a devious grin and looked at his son. Shadow clones transfer all the experiences they learn while training with the exception of muscle memory. You're welcome. Naruto sweat dropped at this and looked at his father. Really, did you have to build it up so much? Yeah, that's cool, I can get months of training in hours, but still you built it up so much, that was rather anticlimactic. I know, Minato said on the verge of laughing at his son's expression. Jiraiya-sensei has the perfect technique for you though. He grabbed hold of both of them and they all teleported to a training field. Alright Naruto, me and your dad have done this, it's now time for you to sign the Toad summoning contract, Jiraiya said while he removed the large scroll from his back and laid it out in front of Naruto. Seriously? That's awesome, I'll be able to summon huge toads like Bunta? Well, that's why you're using the shadow clone technique. It takes a while finding the right balance of chakra to put into the jutsu, but using enough clones you should be able to get it down today. Actually, it's still rather early. Now bite your thumb and leave your fingerprints of the same hand in blood. After that, sign your full name. Naruto did all that he was told and Minato then showed him the seals for the jutsu. Alright, create 30 clones. Naruto did as he was told. Good, now each clone use a different amount of chakra when doing the jutsu. After the jutsu is complete, dispel them all. Summoning jutsu. The entire area was covered in smoke and much to Naruto's shock, only 5 of the clones were able to summon anything. Tadpoles. Naruto gave a deadpan expression and dispelled the clones, getting light-headed as all the information hit him and getting slightly fatigued. Jiraiya laughed out loud while Minato had to suppress a chuckle. Alright, keep it up, create 30 more, have them all use different amounts of chakra, Minato said. Shadow clone jutsu. Alright guys, we have this now, and summoning jutsu. Once again the area was covered in smoke and this time Jiraiya fell on the floor laughing as they were all tadpoles with the exception of the last 10 that had small legs but still had tails. Arg, how much chakra are you supposed to use for this jutsu? That's for you to figure out. Maybe you'll have it by your 100th try. Minato said, a smile adorning his face. Naruto dispelled the clones again and broke out in a light sweat this time. The jutsu was rather taxing on his reserves. Alright, let's try this again, Shadow Clone Jutsu. This time he created 39 clones. He was not going to take over 100 times to perfect this jutsu, so he pumped the most amount of chakra into the jutsu, and once again shouted, "Summoning Jutsu." And again the area was covered, but to Naruto's delight, he summoned a small toad that looked up at him and waved. "Yo, I'm Gamakichi, you must be the new summoner. Thanks for taking all our tadpoles. Much good those will do you." "Awesome, I did it. I'm Naruto Namikaze, nice to meet you, Kichi." He said, a smile on his face as he picked Gamakichi up in one hand and shook his hand with the other. "A Namikaze, alright, well, you're going to need to summon my dad. He'll want to talk to you before you're really able to summon us." The toad gave a wave and dispersed, and along went clones Naruto had made. He fell backwards and landed in a sitting position as his large reserves of chakra had a major strain on them and the mental backlash was straining on him. "Alright, you're almost done now. You have some demon chakra in the ring. Pull on that a little and perform the jutsu," Minato said. "You're really going to have the kid summon him? Now? What did you do this time to make him angry, sensei? I may have quite the debt of sake to repay him." Minato rolled his eyes and looked back at Naruto, who was slowly taking some chakra he had stored into the ring. "Oh, Tusen, I need you to add a filter seal on the ring. It burns my skin when I pull on the chakra as it isn't filtered demonic chakra and is toxic still." "Well, I wasn't expecting you to use the ring in such a manner, so the thought to add that never occurred to me, but afterwards I'll add them. It should only take an hour or two." Minato and Jiraiya stood by Naruto as he performed the jutsu again, and this time when the smoke cleared he was standing high above the trees. "So you're the new summoner, huh? That's a bold claim, saying you're a Namikaze." A deep voice boomed out. "Buntadano, it's good to see you. It has been a while, and yes, he is my son." "Minato, you're up there too, Well, let me see him, then jump down in front of me, boy." Naruto did as he was told and landed in front of the giant rust-colored toad. "Hello, I'm Naruto Namikaze," he said, giving a bow to the giant toad. "Heh, he's the spitting image of you, Minato. Alright, you little squirt, I respect your father, and you have to be quite powerful to summon me. The great boss toad Gamabunta. So I will allow you to summon me when you need help. Hey Minato, who's up there with you? Jiraiya, you pervert, are you up there?" "Ahaha, as wise as you are powerful, Gamabunta, to be able to know it was me, I am truly honored, dash. Jiraiya, I oughta squash you the next time you summon me, you perverted fool. Your lucky Minato is up there with you. Alright Gaki, we will share a drink next time I'm around. They'll be on that idiot I'm assuming you call a sensei. Minato, if you'd please jump down." Minato did as the toad asked, looking confused. Jiraiya was about to do the same. "Not you, Jiraiya, I need to talk to you." Gamabunta then launched himself into the air. "You still will be paying for drinks next time," he said, and then left at the peak of his height, leaving Jiraiya stories in the air, yelling as he fell towards the earth. Thankfully Bunta at least jumped over trees, letting those break the perverted sages fall. "Common Naruto, let's go make sure he didn't break anything during his fall," Minato said with a sigh as he and his son began jogging to the area where Jiraiya had fallen. They found him sprawled out on his back, swirls in his eyes, mumbling something about disrespectful toads. They gathered Jiraiya and went back home, where Minato fixed Naruto's ring to allow him to now safely draw on the Kyuubi's chakra. The next day Kakashi called the team together to give them their forms for the Chunin exams. They filled them out and upon turning them in were told by Minato that they are to spend the remainder of the time training and that everyone will be leaving in 20 days. The team spend the remainder of the day's training with Kakashi in the mornings, then Sakura continues to train with him as the boys convince Zabuza to help them with their kenjutsu. A task not easily accomplished, as to prove themselves worthy to be trained by him, they had to last a minute in a match only using swords. After both being defeated in half that time, he agreed to training them. At night, they'd go and train with their families. Since Zabuza had a clan compound, they trained there, meaning Naruto ran into Haku quite often. At first, they barely communicated with Naruto, giving just a hello and goodbye. After a few days, though, she made the effort to talk to him more, and soon they did, but he still remained different, more closed off than before. It hurt her, but she was just happy that he was talking to her again. It was the last day that he was training, that they were training before he left Tsuna, that she worked up the courage to talk about their feelings. "Naruto, may I ask you something?" "Huh? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Did you? She sighed before looking up right into his eyes. Did you love me? Yes, I did love you, Haku. I'm sorry, Naruto. I'm so sorry for everything, she said, looking away from him. He could see tears brimming at her eyes. Don't be, you were following orders and none of that was supposed to happen. We couldn't have predicted it, and I'd like us to be friends again. Friends? Yes, I'd like that, thank you, Naruto. The two gave a quick hug and Naruto looked at her and waved as he shunshined away back to his house. Soon it was the morning of when all the Genin teams were taking off to Suna. Minato had ordered that all teams would leave at the same time. He also left Naruto with some rather advantageous information: who the Ichibi Jinchuriki was, what he looked like, and a description of his sand-controlling abilities. He also told him that Taki was sending their Jinchuriki as well. Unfortunately, not much information was available other than the fact that they had a degree of control over their bijou. He told him this because they never kept Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki a secret. Others were bound to know some of his skills as well, so he wanted to even the playing field for his son and his team. Who could help it, he was somewhat biased when it came to his son. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were the first to arrive. Ready for this team? I was about to ask you the same thing, Dobe. Hey, you too. I've changed a lot since we became a team. I won't be useless anymore. We're all making it to Chunin, Sakura said with a smile. It was true. After the mission to the waves, she had spent all her time training and becoming stronger. Her taijutsu style was well off and Kakashi had given her chakra paper, finding out her affinity was for earth. He taught her a few simple jutsu but had her focus on one that would complement her taijutsu nicely. Although she kept it a secret from the two, she wanted it to be a surprise when she showed her actual power. She had also noticed the way Naruto was when Haku was around, and as such figured she'd have a better chance going after Sasuke, who needed two boys anyways. She had also toned back her advances somewhat as they hadn't been getting her anywhere in her quest for love. Good, I was just about to say you better make it to Chunin, Sakura. We can't break up the team just like that if me and Sasuke get promoted, Naruto said with a grin as he saw his teammates set her eyes in determination. A few minutes later, a Genin team arrived consisting of people they'd never seen before. They all sported similar attire: a white undershirt with a purple sleeveless top that covered their neck, a khaki belt, and purple pants. One of them walked forward towards Naruto and stuck his hand out. Kabuto, you must be Naruto Namikaze, right? Yeah, nice to meet you, Kabuto, Naruto said with a smile. You guys are rookies. You guys must be worried. It's been some time since rookies were in the exams. Naruto gained a smirk. Nope, not worried at all. I'm pumped for the exams. Careful, they're quite hard, I should know. He gave a half-hearted chuckle at this. This is your second time taking them? He gave another chuckle at this. No, closer to my seventh. Sakura looked over at him with wide eyes. You've taken them that many times? How hard are they? Oh, they're quite hard and dangerous, but then again it may just be me. I don't have the best of luck when it comes to things like this. I've never been much for fighting. You guys should be fine though. I mean, you all have to be strong. Thank you, Kabuto. It was nice meeting you, and hopefully you pass this time. Thank you and good luck to you guys. After a few minutes, they heard Kiba well before they saw him gloating about how he'd destroy the exams and breeze right through them. Naruto walked over to him. Good to see you haven't changed, Kiba. I look forward to seeing just how strong you've become. You too, Naruto, he said with a feral grin. Akamaru popped out of his hood and offered a small yip. Hopefully we get to fight each other. I'd like to see just how well I stack up against the Hokage's son. It'll definitely get me a promotion when I wipe the floor with you. Ha, in your dreams, dog breath, you're more likely to get Shino to laugh than beat me. While Naruto wasn't arrogant in any way, it was rather funny for everyone to see their hot-headed friend blow up over the smallest things. Arg, just you wait, Naruto, I've gotten way stronger than I was in the academy, and you have no idea what my skills are. Kiba, the same goes for him as well. Why? Well, he's had the same amount of time to train, and it's very likely he has been training quite hard to get stronger as well. Yeah, thanks, Shino, Naruto said, but the bug user no longer seemed to be paying attention as he was looking off in the distance. Hi and Naruto. Oh hey Hinata, how've you been? Must be fun dealing with dog boy over here, huh? Hinata looked over at Kiba, then back to Naruto, who was giving her a curious look. Oh, I haven't responded yet. He's acting so calm. Why can't I just talk to him? The more she pondered on her thoughts, the redder she became until Naruto grew visibly worried over her. Hey Hinata, are you alright? You're really red, are you coming down with something? He then walked over to her and placed his hand on her forehead, at which point she fainted. Fortunately, Kiba was there to catch her and he just shrugged at Naruto, then went to set her down in admitting position over by a tree. Did I do something to her? That was weird. Hinata has always been kinda weird like that, wonder why that is. Naruto was brought out of his musings by the arrival of Team 10, which was signified by Ino dashing towards him and hanging around his neck like her life depended on it. Hi Ino, Naruto said in a strained voice as she was just about choking him. Ino, you're kinda choking me, would you mind easing up or letting go? Oh, sorry Naruto-kun, I've just missed you so much, so how's my favorite blonde been cutie? Ino, get away from him, Sakura said with a menacing voice which was made even more threatening by the fact that the way she was standing covered just her eyes in shadows, and she had a thin smile that looked like it belonged to Zabuza rather than the pinky. Why forehead? Afraid he'll finally realize I'm the girl meant for him, and he'll ditch you in an instant. At this point Ino and let go of Naruto, who inches towards Shikamaru and Choji. By the time he got to them, the girls were once again back at screaming and shouting at each other over who would finally get the two boys. How do you take being on a team with her? Naruto asked Shikamaru, who couldn't help but chuckle a bit at the question. It's troublesome all right, but all women are. It's kinda scary too. Ino gets mad a lot at us, Choji said in between bites of the chips he was currently snacking on. I'm surprised you're coming, Shika. This doesn't seem like your style. Let me guess, your mom or Ino got to you? Naruto asked with a grin. Worse. They both did, and Asuma-sensei said he'd train us twice as hard if we didn't participate, so figured I have to. Man, this whole thing is so troublesome. Their conversation was interrupted by loud shouts about the flames of youth, and then in the distance two people who looked like exact clones of each other could be seen running at full speed towards the group. Once they stopped, everyone gave an audible gasp at the two ninja in front of them. They both sported Chunin bowl cuts, huge eyebrows, and wore skin-tight green suits. The only difference being one had a flak jacket on while the other didn't. Lee, I'm so proud of you, my boy. You're off to take the Chunin exams to fan your flames, make sure they burn brighter than everyone else's, the taller of the two said. Hi, I will, Guy-sensei, I will not disappoint you. Atta boy, Lee. At this point, both men started to tear up and looked into each other's eyes. Lee. Guy-sensei. They both embraced, and an image of the sun setting on the beach, complete with waves crashing, came up behind them. Oh God, Sasuke, why can't I dispel it? I don't know, maybe I can look through it. Sasuke then activated his Sharingan, hoping to be able to see through the genjutsu, thus dispelling it for him. My eyes. Instead, not only could he not see through it, the Sharingan permanently burned the image into his mind. What the hell kind of genjutsu is this? Shikamaru, you're smart, how do you get rid of this thing? Naruto shouted. Guy, I really don't know, this thing burns. Finally, the genjutsu was ended when a shuriken landed in between the two men, forcing them to jump apart. Why do you two always do this? Great first impression on all our fellow ninja, I swear you two, Akunoichi said, who looked to be about a year older than them. She had a pink sleeveless blouse on with blue shinobi pants and had her hair in two buns on either side of her head. Thank you for ending that idiocracy, Tenten, said a boy with her. He had his hair in a long ponytail and wore a khaki shirt that covered his neck and brown shorts. The most outstanding feature on the boy were his pale eyes, the Byakugan. He heard a small noise behind him and turned around to see Hinata, seemingly fully recovered from her incident earlier, staring at the white-eyed boy. Hinata, who is that? That's my cousin Eniji. Namikaze, you shouldn't spend your time with weaker ninja. It gives them false hope that they can change their fate and actually become anything other than a failure or a weakling. You as well, Uchiha. Niji said with an arrogant smirk as he saw the other genin look at him with anger. Fate determines strength, huh? Is that what you think? Naruto asked, his voice set in ice. Yes, it is. If you are a failure, then fate deemed you to be nothing but a failure. While he was saying this, he focused his attention on Hinata. You know, I've spent every day training to get where I'm at. Nothing ever came natural to me like it was for my father. I trained hard to reach my levels. Anyone can become great, Naruto said, letting some anger seep into his voice. If you truly believe that, then I was wrong. You do belong with the rest of these failures. And what of you, Uchiha? Do you carry the same beliefs as him? Sasuke looked at him and activated his Sharingan. Every sentence that came out of this guy's mouth annoyed him to no end. Who the hell are you to talk about fate? What happened? Someone you love died. We're shinobi, majority of us have lost people we love, and we will lose people we love. It's our line of work. It doesn't give you the excuse to go talking about fate to everyone you meet. Niji's Byakugan flared to life, and immediately Naruto and Sasuke went into a ready stance. Before the teens could charge at each other, Guy jumped in between them. Niji, that's enough. He then looked over to Naruto and Sasuke. I apologize for Niji's most unyouthful actions. You all have a long trip together, so I hope another incident does not occur. All of you are comrades, and as such should not start unnecessary conflicts amongst yourself. Guy took one more glance at Niji and then addressed the group as a whole. Well, you all are wasting daylight. Get going, and all of you do well. Burn your flames of youth bright. Everyone with the exception of Guy's team questioned amongst themselves to what the hell the flames of youth are. Naruto looked at Sasuke and Sakura and gave a smile. Let's go. And with that, everyone headed off towards the village hidden in the sand. Chapter 6. The First Trial. After 3 days of travel, the group of Konoha Genin arrived in Suna. They arrived at the gates where a group of Umbu was awaiting them. All of you follow us to the hotel where you will be at for the duration of your stay. An Umbu wearing a white demon mask with red horns flaring out on the sides said in an emotionless voice that came across somewhat rude to the Genin. Sheesh, could have said please. Kiba whispered over to Naruto. The second the sentence left his mouth, the Umbu glanced back and made eye contact with the Inuzuka heir for a brief instant before looking forward again. His eyes widened slightly and he found he had some difficulty swallowing. These guys don't mess around at all. You would think we're enemies. It would do us good to remain under the radar while we're all here. Naruto thought to himself as he continued walking right behind their escort. He looked around as he walked. All the buildings seemed to be made of a clay and were all rounded. Well, at least I know it will be nice and cool in rooms, not this blistering heat. He took notice to restaurants as his stomach gave off a rather loud sound signifying his hunger. Looks like someone's hungry. How about the three of us go get something to eat? Sakura said with a warm smile, looking at her comrades. You guys aren't the only ones who are hungry. I ran out of chips halfway here and I'm starving. Choji whined. All you're ever worried about is eating, Choji. Ino yelled at the poor boy. Sure you're not hungry, Ino? How about me and you go grab a bite, Kiba said with a smile. In your dreams, dog breath, the only one who gets to take me out is Naruto-kun. I'm not taking you out, Ino. Naruto replied in a deadpan voice, and then sweat dropped as fire seemed to appear in her eyes as she became even more determined to get the young blonde to date her. Anyways, we're all hungry, so we will all go and grab a bite to eat after we get settled in the hotel. Naruto said with a finality. HN, who made you team leader, Dobe? The fact that I'm the strongest one here, team. Naruto said with a smirk as Sasuke glared at him. Sakura looked at the two, hoping she'd get to play peacemaker again. It always gave her a reason to hold on to one of the boys, as her idea of peacemaking was hanging onto one of their necks to keep them from moving forward. Unfortunately for her, the large group had arrived at the hotel. The hotel was a huge 10-story rounded building that had a banner wrapped around that said, Welcome Konoha Genin. Next to the building were several others that all had welcome banners for the different villages that were participating. The masked Umbu then turned around and addressed the group as a whole. Your rooms will all be on the top level. Enjoy your stay. The exams will begin in 7 days' time. Tomorrow night there will be a dinner. You all will receive invitations that contain more information sometime before tomorrow. Until the exams begin, enjoy your stay here and be careful of your actions. And with that, the Umbu was gone in a swirl of sand. Although his head was facing forward, Kiba got the impression that the Umbu had looked at him during that last sentence. All right, everyone, we will meet back here in 10 minutes. I saw a barbecue place on the way here. That's fine for everyone, right? Everyone mumbled yes, and with that, they headed towards their rooms. This isn't so hard. Being a leader, a man, I was made to be a Hokage. Naruto thought, with a grin seeping onto his face as the image of him as an adult wearing his Hokage robes. You know you look like an idiot smiling like that, Sasuke said with a smirk as Naruto's face did an immediate 180, and he looked at Sasuke with anger. That right, team? How about I make you look like an idiot and mop the floor with you? Enen Naruto KKun. People are staring. Hinata said, her face the color of a ripe tomato by the time the sentence was fully out of her mouth. Ha! He then looked around and saw that everyone in the hotel lobby was staring as the young blonde who had caused a scene. He set his mouth in a thin line and flared his nostrils slightly, then looked at Sasuke, whose smirk had gotten considerably larger than it was before. You know, I really hate you, team, Naruto said, although there was no malicious in his voice to indicate he meant what he said. You humans are quite the idiotic species, a deep, evil voice said. Great, of all times you chose to wake up. What do you want, you oh so scary and mighty fur ball? I'm going to enjoy the day when I finally eat you and your damned father. Your screams will be music to my... Yeah, you've said this all before, nothing new now, what do you want? You will respect me, you damned mortal, I am the almighty demon fox, and as for why I contacted you, I sense the other Jinchuriki strongly. They either have better control or their seals are weakened. You had better be careful, Naruto. I do not wish to wait years before I can reform if your idiocracy gets us killed. And with that, the QB ended their connection and Naruto could no longer feel its presence or influence on him. He hadn't been paying attention while talking and realized that he was already inside his room. How time flies when you're having fun. He smiled as he pulled a scroll from his pocket. Perks of having a seal master for a father. No huge bags to carry like the other guys. He laid the scroll out, and with a poof of smoke his bag appeared filled with various ninja tools and clothing. There's dress clothes in here too. Why wouldn't Tusan tell us about the dinner then, and how would the others have known to bring dress clothes? He was brought out of his thoughts when he heard a loud, "Move, demon!" He looked outside the window and saw a tan girl with mint green hair wearing a short, sleeveless white midriff shirt with fishnet armor underneath, long white armlets, and fishnet shorts with a short white apron skirt over it. On her arm, he saw a taki headband, and he could see a large red cylindrical container on her back. Must be the Jinchuriki. I always heard they were treated bad, but I didn't think it was that bad. Hey, good thing I haven't taken my sword off yet. He created a shadow clone, then jumped out of the window, landing right in front of the taki team, startling all of them. Given I'm not from your village, so I don't know how things are there, but that's usually not the way you treat a girl, he said with a small smile. This is none of your concern, kid, so why don't you get out of here before you piss me and my partner off? As he said this last part, the taki genin drew a kunai. The two genin wore teal shirts that had various pouches on it to hold their tools. They wore dark blue shorts and dark blue shinobi sandals. The one talking to Naruto had light skin and brown spiky hair. His most noticeable features, however, was a large scar going down the middle of his face, and one of his eyes was white with a blue iris, and the other one was green with a red sclera and no pupil. The other one, who had moved next to his fellow takinin, was slightly darker than the girl with dark spiky blue hair and blue eyes. Attached to his sides were kunai that had extended length blades that his hands were currently resting on. Naruto's smile fell and was replaced by a slight glare. He let some of his anger seep into his features, giving him an intimidating look, and he reached back and grabbed the hilt of his katana. If that's how you two want to play this, so be it. Hey Ahiko. The kid looks like the Hokage, you don't think that? The takinin with blue hair said. You're right, Gantetsu. You're the Hokage's brat, aren't you? Not that it matters, but yeah, I'm Naruto Namikaze. Ahiko gained a smile and put his kunai away. Fine, you want to be around the demon, go ahead. I can wait till the exams start to deal with you. Gantetsu, let's go. The two ninja then took off back to their hotel rooms. That could have ended worse, hehe. I'm Naruto, just in case you didn't hear, he said with a smile. He noticed that she ever so slightly flinched when he stuck his hand out. Who the hell is this guy? You shouldn't have done that. You're better off not knowing me, so please just leave me alone. Why would you want me to do that? Just leave me alone, she said before turning around and walking away. Naruto smirked and ran after her. Hey, wait up, it's rude to not introduce yourself after the other person already has, he said with a chuckle. Fo, now leave. If he knew what I was, he'd stay away from me. I just really don't feel like being called a monster right now, especially not from someone so nice. Fo, I like that name, so you hungry? Are you deaf or something? No, not at all. Just asked if you were hungry, which you never answered. I said leave me alone. She then took off at a full sprint, then jumped onto the roofs. She can kill you with one punch. She holds the nanabai. She's the strongest physically of the bijou. You have such an idiotic tendency to befriend everyone you meet. Not now, furball, I have a new friend to make. She ran until she arrived at a training ground that was thankfully empty. As she was about to sit down, she noticed an odd human-shaped shimmer. If you're going to use a stealth jutsu, know how to fully use it, otherwise you just look pathetic using a half-complete jutsu. The jutsu faded and Naruto appeared with a sheepish grin. Sheesh, give a guy a break, not gonna perfect it unless I use it. Practice makes perfect, right? She sighed and looked up at the blonde stranger who wouldn't leave her alone and sighed. Why won't you just leave me alone? Sorry, I'm kinda stubborn. It's part of my charm, hee, so just humor me please, and let's get some food, and if you want me to leave you alone after, then I will. Humor the child, you see, he won't leave you alone. Leave me alone. You're the reason why I'm alone, it's your fault that I'm like this. Perhaps if you made the effort to befriend me and not control me, you wouldn't be so alone, fool. Fine, let's go get something to eat and get this over with. So I can be left alone again. Alright, great. How does ramen sound? He said with a wide grin. Whatever. The two Jinchuriki found a restaurant that served ramen nearby and sat in the back of the place. Naruto didn't need his friends walking by with his clone and seeing him. She had noticed that Naruto kept looking at her. Do I have something on my face? She said in a slightly angry voice. He gave a chuckle. No, your eyes are orange, if you couldn't tell. He raised his cloak showing the orange fire pattern. It's my favorite color. Orange is pretty much the best color possible. Not much of a color for a ninja, it stands out like a sore thumb. Did you forget we're supposed to be stealthy? She said in a flat voice. Ha, this coming from the one wearing blinding white. He said with a smile to show he was joking. Yeah, well, white's a pretty good color too, she said under her breath. Not as good as orange. Shut up, she said with a small smirk that disappeared as fast as it came. Come, so easy talking to her. Huh, just exactly like Haku. She's really pretty too. Oh no, not falling for another enemy, Kunoichi. You really are pathetic, boy. Damn it, the stupid bug sensed me. Fu. What do you want, Nanabai? That boy, he holds core the Kyuubi. What are you talking about? I felt a surge of chakra, I'm sure it belonged to the fox. She looked at him. Why didn't you tell me? Stupid fox. I didn't tell you because I wanted to get you to like me without knowing what I carry, and also I wanted to make sure you weren't a threat to me or be inclined to tell your village about me and my skills. But seeing as how your teammates treated you, it's safe to assume you hold no love for your village. How are you so happy? Why aren't you like me? I thought all Jinchuriki are treated the same. She looked at him with curiosity now rather than annoyance. I'm the Hokage's son. The people of Konoha are pretty accepting of Jinchuriki. They don't see me as a weapon, they see me as another shinobi who has made a great sacrifice for my village, a hero. Without me, the Kyuubi would have ran rampant and possibly destroyed Konoha. Jinchuriki really aren't hated there. I wish Taki was the same. I'm hated for something I had no control over. I hate it there. I know that being alone is awful. It's always good to talk about stuff like that. It gets that weight off your chest. She hesitated and looked at him. He might not hold the same burden as you, but he is a Jinchuriki nonetheless. I believe you can trust him. She swallowed, then said, the village leader, Shibuki, cares about me, but he has more charisma than skill as a ninja. He's very smart and that's why he's the leader, but he can't watch over one ninja when he has a whole village. Our Umbu took control of my training, promising him I'd be treated right. That didn't happen and he's about low down in rank. Well, compared to Umbu, well, they treat me how they want and started my training with Nanabai right away. I can go to 4 taels worth before losing control. Me and Nanabai are on somewhat good terms, but she's not free, so when I lose control she can be difficult getting control back from. Maybe if you opened your seal. You know that won't happen. The most I've gotten so far is 1 tael, and even that was hard to control. Me and the furball aren't on the best of terms. Most of our talks consist of him claiming he'll one day eat me. He said nonchalantly. He's so different from how Jinchuriki usually are. He's so happy. He has precious people, perhaps he could be one of yours, Fu. The two continued talking as they ate their meal, Fu enjoying someone's company for the first time in what seemed like forever. By the time they left the restaurant, the sun had set. "So Fu, did you enjoy yourself?" I think I want you to leave me alone." She smiled as he face faulted. "Thank you, Naruto, this was nice. I'll see you tomorrow, Fox Boy." "See you tomorrow, Bug Girl." With that, the two new friends left to head back to their hotels. Naruto decided to scale the building as the clone hadn't dispelled yet, so he didn't know where it was at. For all he knew, it could be in the lobby. This was not the case, however, as when he arrived to his room, he once saw his clone asleep, and two Sasuke and Sakura were knocking at his door. He dispelled the clone, receiving all its memories, and opened the door for his two teammates. "Can I help you too?" "Did you read your letter?" Sakura asked, her voice laced with concern. "Hurry up and read it, we need to prepare. It's in your dress clothes." Naruto saw how serious his two friends were and immediately grabbed his dress clothes and pulled them out of his bag. Along with them came a letter with the Hokage seal on it. He bit his thumb and wiped the blood across the seal. The seal faded away, allowing him to open the letter. The letter was a mission with information on it concerning a rogue Konoha shinobi with information on jutsu he stole and how they work. There was a rumor that he would be in attendance at the dinner tomorrow night, which is the entire point of the dinner. All Konoha genin were informed of this and they were to apprehend him together. He was low Chunin rank when he left not too long ago, but still better safe than sorry. The letter burned away after he read it. "Alright, how'd you guys even get your letters?" he asked. "They were on our beds when we got back to our rooms. Everyone else should have the same letter," Sasuke said. "The ninja is disguised as a sand shinobi. We're going to have to follow him after dinner," Naruto said as he was looking at a picture of a shinobi who had most of his face covered. The top of his head was wrapped and a sheet covered half of his face. He had two distinct red markings on the visible side of his face, though so finding him wouldn't prove difficult at the dinner. "Alright, we all need to be rested. Tomorrow morning we'll meet here. I have a few silencing seals, so no one will be able to eavesdrop on us," Naruto said. His two friends nodded and left his room. "Great, right before the Chunin exams we have to complete a mission. This will be fun." Next day. "Alright everyone, are we clear on what everyone is supposed to do?" Naruto asked all the Konoha genin, who were all dressed and ready for the dinner. They were going over their plan one last time in Naruto's room before the dinner, which started in half an hour. Everyone nodded and had looks of determination. "Alright, good. Let's head out." The group left and walked over to a huge lit-up building that would be easy to see from across the village. They walked inside and were greeted by two Umbu who told them where their table was and that they were all expected to be seated in 20 minutes, otherwise they were free to talk to others and walk around the building. Naruto, who was leading the group, glanced back at everyone and then walked away, intent on finding the traitor shinobi. "Nope, not over there either. Damn it, where is this guy? This place is full of Suna shinobi and of course majority of them have wrappings in some way." He felt a tap on his shoulder and turned around to see Fu standing behind him wearing a white dress that had mint green stitching, really drawing attention to her hair and making her eyes stand out. "Wow, you clean up nice, Fox Boy." He was wearing a black haori with a black and orange kimono with black pants and black sandals. "Hihiwaya, you too, Fu," he said, stumble over his words slightly. "Wow, she looks great. Wish I could sit with you. My teammates are morons and have been pissed off since yesterday. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to create more problems for you." "No, it's okay. Hey, if you didn't do what you did, then we wouldn't have become friends." He smiled at her and was about to say something when he heard a deep voice. "Don't you have a mission? Never mind the bug now. You okay? You leave your mouth open like that, you're gonna swallow a fly," she said with a smile. "Yeah, I'm good. My tenant is just being annoying. Hey, this place is huge. How about we do some exploring?" he said with a smile. "I know I have that mission, but I don't want to just leave her. I can search for the guy and hang out with her at the same time." "Alright, lead the way," she said with a smile. The two teens walked around the complex enjoying each other's company, but Naruto still didn't see the shinobi. He saw a door that led to a balcony. "Let's get some fresh air. We're gonna have to go back soon." "Yeah, that sounds good." He was so preoccupied talking to Fu that he didn't notice as the door opened and Asuna shinobi walked out and walked right into Naruto, knocking him down in the process. "You okay, kid?" the shinobi asked in a gruff voice that sounded like he didn't care if Naruto was okay or not. "Yeah, I'm fine, sorry about that, wasn't paying attention." The shinobi stuck his hand out and Naruto looked up and saw his face before taking the ninja's hand to help pull him up off the ground. Thanks for that, sorry again. Yeah, watch where you're going next time. Got him with a tracking seal, not gonna be so hard to find next time, you bastard. What are you smiling about? Fu asked her blonde companion. Oh, crap, think of a lie, just happy to be spending time with you, he said with a smile. She felt her face heat up slightly and was thankful for the night hiding the fact that her face was most likely red at this. Why yeah, you too. The exams start in a few days. You excited? Naruto asked as he looked out towards the village. Yeah, I wasn't before, but now I am. What, why weren't you before? I can't wait to get promoted. Well, I get to see you, so you better not get eliminated, fox boy. Me, never. I'm not letting anyone stop me, I will get through all these exams. It's a shame I will have to kill you both then, mother demands it. A dull, emotionless voice said. The pair turned around, unsurprised as they turned around and looked at the boy standing in front of them. He had blood-red hair and the kanji for love marked on his head and had real eyes with dark black markings around them. He wore a black bodysuit with an open neck, t-shirt-like sleeves, and almost full-length leggings. He had a white cloth over his right shoulder and the left side of his hips and carried a large gourd on his back. Who are you? Naruto asked, his body tense and ready to move if necessary. Gaara. Who are you too? Mother has never wanted someone's blood so badly. I'm Naruto Namake's, container of the Kyuubi. I'm Fu. I hold the Nanabi. You hold the Ichibi, don't you? Yes, I do. I won't kill you yet. Soon though, very soon I will. And with that, the boy disappeared in a swirl of sand. His seal must be incredibly loose. The Ichibi is exerting a lot of influence on him. Be careful, Fu, he's dangerous. Yeah, I could tell. Nanabi is telling me the same thing. He was staring at you the whole time. Watch out during the exams. I will. He had his eyes closed and looked very similar to a fox, a similarity the mint-haired girl commented on. You know, you look almost exactly like a fox with your face like that. I think I like fox face better than fox boy, she said with a smile. He looked over at her with a slight smile. Oh, is that right, bug eyes? Don't call me that, she said with a laugh and a playful punch. However, Naruto had forgotten about her enhanced strength and so didn't tense his body, resulting in him being turned with the punch and losing his footing. Crap! He instinctively reached out and Fu reached forward. He grabbed her hand, but he was already on his way down, bringing Fu with him, resulting with both teens on the floor with Fu on top of him. Did you have to punch so hard? He said, rubbing his head. Sorry, I had assumed the Hokage's son could take a punch, she said with a laugh. Both teens had their eyes closed and hadn't exactly realized the position they were in. Hey, Fu. Yeah, Naruto? She opened her eyes, Jeech. Sorry, she said as she pushed herself off and to the side, landing in a sitting position as Naruto pushed himself into one as well. Sorry about that, she said, thankful again that the night covered the red tinge to her face. Hey, yeah, no problem. I didn't know how strong you really are, he said as he pushed himself up and then reached down and pulled his companion up as well. Thanks, Foxface. Keep it up, bug girl. Come on, we should head down already, the dinner is going to start soon. He smiled and the two walked back into the dining hall right as everyone was about to take their seats. See you later, Fu, he said with a smile and wave as he walked towards his friends. Naruto sat down and gave a small subtle nod to everyone, letting them know he found the shinobi. Pissed Naruto. What, Kiba? Dude, who was that chick you were with? At this, Ino and Sakura's heads shot up and looked over at the blonde. Geez, thanks, Kiba, Naruto said as he saw the two girls glancing around looking for the girl. Just as Kiba opened his mouth, they heard a loud boom as the doors for a balcony that hung over the dining area opened up and out stepped the leaders from every village save for Kiri and Aim. The Kazekage stepped forward, used a voice-enhancing jutsu. Thank you all of you for joining in the Chunin exams. I especially would like to thank the Hokage Minato Namakes for getting all of these great villages to agree to join for the first time ever in a Chunin exams of this size. Now then, the real purpose of these exams are well to replace wars. The final trial is a fight in front of many people and the daimyos. Those fights allow villages to show off their most prospective genin and in turn show the village's power, in result getting more jobs from various sources and discouraging other villages from attacking. With that being said, he motioned to the leaders on either side of him, expect you all to do your absolute best and make friends amongst each other to strengthen the bonds between us all. Now all of you enjoy yourselves. And with that, a table came into existence with a poof of smoke that the Kages and leaders sat around. Their food was served first, then several waiters came around and began serving all the genin. Everyone ate, talking amongst themselves. The only beverage that was served was sake, as they were all adults in the ninja world. They didn't drink much. It wouldn't do them well to be drunk while chasing after the missing nin. The group finished eating and one by one the other tables excused themselves. The Konoha genin left the same way they came in and immediately turned right. Come on guys, he's not too far away, I can feel his chakra signature. A tracking seal amplifies the target's chakra signature only to the one who applied the seal, enabling them to track the target no matter the distance, as they would always sense their chakra. The group rounded a corner and came to a stop in front of an alleyway, where the missing nin was waiting for them. Nice job, you all found me. Now then, Kai. He put his hands in the ram seal and immediately the team became incredibly drowsy. What did you do? Naruto asked as he dropped to his knees, his friends already asleep. You'll see now, be a good little genin and let the food do its job. Naruto tried to channel the Bijou chakra but found he couldn't. His eyes became even heavier and then the world went black. I said wake up, damn it. Naruto felt light contact against his cheek and then felt cold. He opened his eyes and saw shoes, then his world tilted and he was looking up at the missing nin. Arg, I'll kill you. He tried to move but his legs and arms were bound behind a chair. That wire keeps your chakra suppressed, even Bijou chakra. Now, finally you're awake so we can get to the fun part. The ninja pulled a kunai out, those jutsu that were reported I stole, I didn't get away with all of them. I know though that you were given a very good description of how each jutsu works so you'd recognize when I use them and how to combat them. I want all of those jutsu and the ones you know as well. Do this and I won't kill you or your friends. It's a really easy decision, Gaki. Hey, you really think I'd betray my village like that? You're a moron, Naruto said with a smile. He received a punch to his stomach and a cut across his cheek in return. Bastard, how was that supposed to hurt? You really are one pathetic ninja. QB, you in there? I could really use some rent right now. He didn't receive an answer, damn it, I'm on my own. Hopefully someone will escape and get us out of here. I can't even use my distress seal to get my dad here, damn it, I'm screwed. Hee tough talk, kid. I like it, it'll be even better when you break. The ninja walked behind Naruto. Hey now, I don't swing that way, what are you doing back there? He said with a chuckle. Funny kid. He then grabbed Naruto's hands and dragged the kunai across the front and back of his hands. Feel like talking now, kid? This is nothing compared to what Zabuza put me through. You're gonna have to try harder, he said, the same smile on his face still. All right, kid, I gave you several chances, and those seals on your clothing won't protect you this time. They have no chakra to draw on. He then slashed across Naruto's chest. He yelled in pain and tried to get his breathing back in control. Arg, I'm gonna fucking kill you, I swear I'm gonna get out of this and shove that kunai into your damn heart, you bastard. The ninja grabbed his hair and put the kunai to his throat. This is it, kid, tell me what I want to know or I kill you. So be it. Hey, go fuck yourself. Congratulations, you passed the first exam. The chair began to glow green and the wires fell off. Naruto stood up and looked at the ninja. You bastards, that's why we were required to leave so early, the exam start date was false. Yes, the first exam was to test your loyalty to your village. There will be times where you can be captured during a mission, and if so, we need to make sure you won't give up any secrets and can withstand torture. There's always a chance for survival as well, so we don't want you to throw your life away the second you get captured. You pass with flying colors, as did all of your fellow Konoha genin. Again, congratulations. You passed the first trial. You may exit the room and join with your team. There will be another area that opens up, stand in the center of the room and channel chakra to the ground. Naruto walked out and greeted his friends. Hey, you guys okay? Yeah. I'm surprised you passed, Dobe, I would have thought that you'd pass out, he said with a smile. Oh, shut up, team, I must have had it worse than you. There's no way they would have put a weak shinobi like you through the same thing as me, Naruto said. smiling as Sasuke became visibly annoyed. What about you, Sakura? You okay? Hey, yeah, I've been done for a while. My strength isn't reliant on chakra, so I kinda broke out of the wires right away and sent the guy through the wall. Thankfully, he was an Earth clone. Nice one, haha. Alright, let's go to the next room. I'm ready for round 2. The group went into the room and channeled chakra, and with a whirl they were gone. Ah crap, I feel really bad for Kichi, that was awful, Naruto said as he stumbled around. That wasn't pleasant, Sasuke said as his face turned slightly green. Geez Naruto, you do that to your poor summons. I couldn't tell which was up or down for a few seconds. The smoke cleared and the group looked up at where they were at. Several other groups were appearing in puffs of smoke as well. Welcome to the second trial. What the hell? This is insane, Naruto shouted. The second trial. This is insane. How did you guys make this? The group had appeared right outside of a seemingly endless city made of various sized buildings, some small and some touching the sky. Some were made of stones and the others were made of wood. After the puffs of smokes ended, signifying the last of the teams passing the first test, several ninja from various villages walked out of the building. A man wearing the standard Konohanin attire walked out in front of the rest and said, "Alright, I'm the proctor for the second round. My name is Yamato. The second round will be a game of capture the flag in this city with a twist." He gained a rather devious smile and pointed over to a stall that had several shinobi in it. Over there you will receive a tag with a number on it. You must capture the corresponding flag. 2 teams will have the same tag, so at least half of you will be eliminated. However, it's not only each other you have to worry about when capturing the flags. At this, the shinobi behind him all performed the same seals. Once the sequence was done, loud, demonic roars could be heard coming from all over the city. Those are golems, all infused with each of the 5 elements. In order to capture the flag, you must defeat the golem and the other team must be knocked unconscious or killed. The tags will be synced to all of your bodies, and once they detect that a team is unconscious or dead, the barriers surrounding the flag will drop, allowing you to get your flag. Once you have the flag, you will head to the center of the city, about 4 days from your current position. You will have 1 week to get the flag and make it to the center. Don't worry about food, there are many rivers flowing throughout the city that all contain fish, and there are various plant life as well. Good luck to you all and be careful, this may very well be the last week of some of your lives. Geez, what a way to get us excited for this. It's the real deal this time, though the 3 of us will need to be careful to survive this, Naruto thought to himself as he and his team walked to the stall to receive their crest. You guys ready for this? Naruto asked with concern in his voice. Yeah, why getting scared, Dobe? He just glared at the raven-haired boy, then turned to Sakura. Yeah, I'm just as ready as you guys are. I'm not holding you guys back anymore, I promise, she said with a newfound confidence in her voice. Alright, let's go, Naruto shouted with a smile, drawing the attention of various teams. Heya, we're still in our dress clothes. And why are your clothes all torn? Sakura asked. Yeah, unlike you, they actually cut us. They were shallow cuts, thankfully, and the chair had healing seals on it. Tusan has been working on them for a while with Tsunade Bachan. They only work on more minor injuries, though, so that's why all of our cuts were rather shallow, Naruto said while he rubbed his hands over his chest on the spot where the Chunin had slashed. While Naruto was explaining, the various teams began shouting at Yamato due to the fact that they as well were all in their dress clothes. Why couldn't someone else be Proctor, Yamato thought before he used chakra to enhance his voice and shouted. If you'd all pay attention, there are stalls behind each team. In there will be each team member's names. 1 person at a time will go in there. You bite your thumb and swipe the blood across your name. All of your gear and clothes will appear. Now hurry up, we need to start soon, so once you're changed, go and grab your tags, then go back to the areas you each appeared in. Everyone did as they were told, and 20 minutes later everyone was back at the starting areas ready to go. Alright, on my count, the second exam begins. 3, 2, 1, begin, yelled Yamato, and with that everyone took off as fast as possible into the city to find their flags. Dobe, did you see who has the same number as us? Sasuke asked as Naruto was the one to grab the tag. Yeah, it was the Oto Genin. They didn't see me though, but they started quite a bit away from us. We should find a place to stay in a few hours. Damn, we were out for a while before the interrogation. The sun was already beginning to set, signifying that they all had actually been knocked out for At the very least, a full night's rest. The trio alternated from running along the roads to going through buildings, trying at all costs to avoid running along the rooftops. They did not want to be that open, especially with all the many teams active. After a bit, they found one of the large streams flowing through the city. They stopped and Naruto made several shadow clones to span the river, and then they cut the stream, allowing Sasuke and Sakura to easily just pluck the fish right out of the stream. After that, Naruto created a small fire and soon the fish were cooking. Naruto used small wind jutsu to divert the smoke, keeping their position safe. Alright, that building in the distance, the one with the tree growing through it, we make it there and set camp for the night. It's large enough so that even if someone finds us, there's plenty of room to fight properly. Naruto said with authority, looking at Sasuke the entire time, who surprisingly enough, didn't challenge the blonde-haired teen. The group 8 then made their way to the building. Once there, they made it to the middle of the building where Naruto went about setting perimeter seals. After that, they climbed into the tree. The branches were already quite wide and had plenty of leaves even at this height. After making sure that they were secure and hidden in the leaves, the teens dozed off into sleep. It was the middle of the night when the perimeter seal had been breached, waking him up at the same time as the QB did. Naruto, get out of there. He had never heard the QB sound this way. He knew whoever was coming towards them was not someone to mess with, so with that in mind, he threw all subtlety to the wind and shouted, "Sasuke, Sakura, run." The teens were up in an instant, and one look at Naruto was all the reasons they needed to take off. Naruto slapped a few explosive tags onto the tree and took off after his friends. After they were on the roof of the next building, Naruto shouted, "KAI!" causing the tree and building to go up in flames as a massive explosion shook the area. Before the teens could relax, a giant snake shot out of the explosion, completely unharmed by the raging inferno. "Oh, Kami, no. Sasuke, it's a snake summon. We need to get out of here fast." He looked over to Sasuke, who had gone pale at the realization of just who it was they were dealing with. Meanwhile, Sakura looked to be getting confused more and more by the second. "What does it matter that it's a snake summon?" she asked. "Two people have the contract. One of them is back in Konoha, the other is Orochimaru," Naruto said in a grave voice. Sakura paled at this. Everyone knew about the snake Sannin and what he was capable of. "Summoning jutsu," Naruto shouted. Immediately afterwards, the trio were suddenly elevated several stories higher than they originally were. "Gaki, you ready for that drink?" a deep loud voice said. If the explosion hadn't woken everyone up, Gamabunta's voice would have done the job. Naruto shot off several blasts from his ring high into the sky that all exploded loudly. "No, sorry Bunta-san, but I have a snake problem. I'm alerting Tusen right now, but I need your help if I want me and my friends to survive this." "What? That bastard Orochimaru is here. But why?" My Naruto-kun Minato and that fool Jiraiya have taught you well," Orochimaru said as he appeared from the floor. "Ah, Bunta, how nice to see you. Perhaps I should summon Manda for you to play with," the snake Sannin said with a smile. "Please do, I've been needing a new wallet," Bunta said, a large puff of smoke escaping his mouth. "Summoning jutsu," Orochimaru said with a smile. A giant three-headed brown snake appeared. Both the snake and Orochimaru struck forward. Gamabunta drew his blade, then jumped forward. Right when he was over the snake, he swung the blade down, taking all three heads off at once. He landed on another building with a resounding boom as it was strained to carry his weight. Striking shadow snakes. The serpents began wrapping around Gamabunta's legs, but despite his size, Bunta could move with incredible speed and agility, and such in one fluid motion he spun in a full 180, slicing through all of the snakes. "Alright Gaki, do you know your dad's or Jiraiya techniques with me?" "Why, yeah, I do." "Alright, good, I'll supply the oil. You and whoever else can up there supply the fire." "Toad oil gun. Ready, Sasuke?" "Yeah, Katan. Fireball jutsu." "Katan. Fireball jutsu." The boys' fire collided with the oil, and the entire area in front of them was covered in the enhanced flames. My, that's quite the jutsu." Gamabunta turned around to see Orochimaru standing without a scratch on him. He smiled and slammed his hands down again, summoning two snakes that were much larger than the first one. "Kill the toad." The snakes lunged forward and Gamabunta jumped out of the way, shooting water bullets as he did. Orochimaru used the distraction to get behind the giant toad, and jump up onto him with a smile as he stared at his prey. Katan. Crescent slash. Futon. Crescent slash. Naruto's technique combined with Sasuke, creating a much larger and faster blade of fire that Orochimaru jumped over. Due to the night covering some of their movements, they were able to hide a surprise for the snake in the attacks, and once the snake had landed they both pulled back, bringing in the shuriken that they had hidden in the attacks, attached to ninja wire. The blades curved around the snake several times, then the boys pulled again, tightening around him. My, whatever will I do now? Sakura will make an opening. Go in and hit him as hard as you can once you see it, Naruto said as Sasuke shouted, Katan. Dragon Fire Jutsu. Futon. Drilling Wind Bullet. The bullet combined with the fire, creating a fast-moving inferno that hit the Sannin, engulfing him in flames. Sakura ran forward and with all her strength delivered an uppercut to the flaming mass, launching it high into the air. Once it hit its peak in ascent, the boys pulled the ropes down and to the right, slamming him into and sending through the roof of a nearby building. Naruto ran forward and jumped over the building and shouted, Demonic Ring. Multiple blasts. He fired off several shots of Bijou Chakra into the hole, sending the snake all the way to the floor. Naruto landed on the building, then jumped back to his friends. Stay on your guard, Naruto said, worry still in his voice. Yes, you two will do well. The snake jumped up out of the hole without a scratch on him. He had a wide grin as he stared at the trio. He jumped forward as one of his snakes crashed into the building, gashes all across it. The Sannin landed and shot forward. Naruto called forth some of the Nine Tails chakra, coating him in a shapeless red mist. The Sannin ran forward, engaging the trio in a taijutsu match. Naruto and Sasuke fought well together with their swords and would purposely leave openings for Sakura to throw in punches. Overall, their teamwork was almost flawless. Despite this, they couldn't land a hit on the snake, who had yet to throw a punch himself. A single pink petal fell in front of Orochimaru. Soon many began falling all around him, a genjutsu ha. These three could grow to be something special. He dispelled it right as Sakura was throwing a punch. He caught the punch and pulled her arm forward, throwing her off balance. He landed a quick succession of blows to her side. As he was about to kick her in the back, Naruto and Sasuke appeared and slashed at him, forcing him to weave around the attacks. They came at him from both sides. The snake grabbed their blades with his hands, then jumped and performed a powerful split kick to both the boys, sending them back a good distance. Sakura was still recovering on the floor after the attack. This will be much easier with one less problem. He ran towards the downed girl, picked her up by the throat, and delivered a swift knee to her stomach, then threw her with enough force to go through the wall of a nearby building. His final snake crashed to the ground, missing its head. Damn that toad. I will need to finish this soon. Minato will undoubtedly be on his way. He ran towards Naruto, who had just stood up. Damn it, we can't hold off much longer. Tusen should be here soon, but this guy is just toying with us. What the hell does he want? The blonde moved to slash forward and created a Rasengan when Orochimaru dodged the feint. The snake grabbed his wrist and diverted the Rasengan by pulling the blonde forward into the Sannin's fist, depriving the boy of oxygen. Sasuke saw as Orochimaru's neck elongated and then went down, biting his friend on the neck before tossing him aside. He felt a burning in his eyes. So far he had been unable to properly follow the snake, but now his movements became readable. He could see more definition as the snake ran forward and was able to easily dodge the snakes that shot from his arm. Good Sasuke, you've gotten all three tomo now, Orochimaru said with a smile that would be enough to chill most blood cold. His neck elongated again and flew at Sasuke, who didn't have the speed necessary to dodge. He felt a burning and then pain like he had never known. Then the world went black. Let's see if you two are strong enough to survive my gift. And with that, the snake went into the ground as if it were water, ripples spreading out over the area. Sakura woke with a start to water being sprayed into her face. I'm almost out of chakra and I need to get the three of you out of here. I can't make it too far, but many other teams will be converging on this area to see what happened. Grab the other two. The snake did something to them. Hopefully Minato will know what to do. Thankfully, she still had plenty of chakra and was able to pick up both of her unconscious team members and hold on as the boss summon leaped away. She had to steel herself when she first saw her teammates, the sight bringing her close to tears. Have to be strong. They need me right now more than ever to protect them. Alright, I'm about empty. I'll dispel before I land, so I won't give away your position by all the noise when I land. so prepare yourself to jump. Before he dispelled, Sakura jumped off onto the roof of a nearby building. Shortly after, a cloud of smoke engulfed the area, and she took off running as fast as she could while holding her teammates under each arm. Can't run far like this, but I need to still get away from here. Thankfully, Bunta had left her not too far from a stream. She could feel the heat radiating off from the boys, so she would need that water to try and cool them off. She made her to a larger building that was a few seconds dead sprint away from the stream. She again went to the middle of the building and set the boys down. She went through Naruto's gear and found more perimeter seals. She then proceeded to set them about in the corners of the room and then cast a genjutsu, making anyone else see a false wall a few feet in front of her. Given to her lack of experience with the technique, someone who looked close enough might be able to tell that it was a genjutsu, but hopefully it would give her enough time to either flee or make a plan should the situation arise. The seals are set and the boys have wet rags on their foreheads. I need sleep. Can't defend them properly if I'm half awake when an enemy comes. With that, the Pinky fell into an uneasy sleep. Outskirts of the city. Why are you here, Orochimaru? Minato said as he landed on a very large branch of a tree, his signature tri-pronged kunai in hand. Orochimaru walked out of the trunk, using the same technique as when he went sunk into the building. Now is not the time to reveal my plans, Minato. However, I must say Naruto is quite skilled for someone his age, the snake said with a smile. Minato's grip tightened considerably on the kunai and his face set in a stone-like mask, completely devoid of emotion, giving him a very intimidating look, the look of a hardened shinobi. In a flash, he appeared behind Orochimaru, a very large Rasengan fully formed. The jutsu ripped right through him, but instead of blood, mud and rocks flew everywhere. All of the larger trees were marked with his Hiroshin, as Yamato simply made sticks to begin with, and then Minato would appear at each one, growing them using his Nine Tails chakra mode. The large ones required much more time though, so he would grow them as much as possible in a day, then leave to grow the others, but rather than run back, he placed his Hiroshin mark on them. Minato, now is not the time for fighting though, that will come soon. Do not stop the Chunin exams or interfere with them in any way, Minato. Otherwise, I promise you I will destroy Taki first and every village I come across on my way to Konoha. The snake said with a smile before Minato sent his arm right through the Sannin's stomach. His chakra mode activated. The Sannin again turned to mud, but another one did not reappear. He deactivated the Nine Tails chakra mode and sighed as he ran his hand through his hair, contemplating his options. Damn it, that wasn't an empty threat, and I can't go about running through the city trying to find Naruto. Kichi said that he was still alive, so I have to trust that he's completely okay. Gamabunta had sent Gamakichi to inform Minato of what happened with their fight with Orochimaru. He had appeared as fast as possible and could feel Orochimaru's chakra using Sage Mode. He teleported back to the main building in the center of the city. He needed to inform Jiraiya of this so they could make a plan on what to do next. Next morning, Sakura awoke to hearing slight groans coming from the boys. She took the rags off, which thankfully weren't too hot, and quickly went to the stream and back, placing the cold rags on their foreheads again. She had never appreciated the harsh training she went through after the Land of Waves more at that time, as before the genjutsu creating the wall would have all but emptied her chakra reserves. Now it had barely put a drop in them. She had worked hard to get her chakra capacity up, as before it was, in all honesty, just above a civilian's, very low for even a fresh genin. She went about the day setting up traps all over the very large floor she was in. There wasn't separate rooms, the wide open spaces were considerably better for open combat, and well, why waste the chakra in creating thousands of buildings with separate rooms in each one? Naruto awoke inside the familiar sewer that housed the Kyuubi. After walking for a few minutes, he arrived at the cell only to see the demon fox banging against the seal. With each bang, some of the demon's chakra slipped out. Damn that snake. Kyuubi, what's going on? What are you doing? Do you remember anything about your encounter with the snake? The Kyuubi said in between slams. I remember fighting Orochimaru. He knocked Sakura out. We fought one-on-one and... My neck. He reached to his neck, and when he pulled his hand back he saw it was covered in a black liquid. What is this? Orochimaru put one of his disgusting experiments on you. A curse seal. It allows him to put some of his chakra inside of you, which will grow with more usage of the seal, allowing him to exert control over the person with the seal. I'm trying to force more of my chakra into you, which will overpower and break the seal, but this damn snake applied a rather powerful one. It's making the process much more difficult. You're lucky that my chakra is healing you, otherwise you'd be in immense pain. The demon said this last part with a hint of disappointment. Naruto looked down into the water and saw his reflection without distortion. He turned his head and saw the seal, which looked like 3 slightly curved lines, which spread out a rip-like pattern over his neck. The liquid was falling from the tips of the lines, and they seemed to be getting shorter, although very slowly. Well, I appreciate the fact that you care enough about me to do this. I'm not doing this for you, you pathetic human. I can't have a host who is the subject of a disgusting human's experiments or slave. Knowing that, man, it would not end well for me, and I will not have my host used as such. You're doing it because you like me, the blonde said with a smile. I will enjoy the day I finally am able to kill you. Now shut up, I need to concentrate on loosening this damn seal. Naruto decided to stand and watch as the giant demon smashed into the seal continuously. The ink from the seal began to fall off quicker now. Soon it would be completely off. Sakura awoke and immediately began looking around from the cover of her genjutsu. The perimeter had been breached. She immediately saw the culprits, the sound trio. Damn it, are we that close to the golem, or do I have that bad of luck that they landed in this building? Where the hell are they, Dosu? They're not here. A boy wearing a beige shirt with 2 black stripes and 3 prints of the kanji for death down the front said to his other teammate, identified as Dosu. The boy looked like a mummy with bandages covering most of his face, leaving only his left eye uncovered. He also wore a large poncho with long sleeves, a snake-patterned scarf around his neck, and a straw raincoat protruding from the back of his scarf. The boy also had a large device on his arm that had several holes in it. Shut up, Zaku, I know what I'm doing. He then looked to their last teammate, a girl wearing a green vest and snake-patterned pants and scarf. Kin. He then looked forward. The kunoichi nodded and with extreme speed threw several senbon straight ahead. Sakura tensed, but didn't move as before the senbon could hit. Kunai shot forward, deflecting the senbon. They've set traps, huh? Don't move forward. Zaku, if you would do the honors. With pleasure, the boy said with a grin as he outstretched both of his hands and with a shout said, slicing sound wave. The blast went through the fake wall and smashed into the actual one, raising dust and debris. When the dirt settled, there was a gaping hole present, but no people were present. What the H- was all the mummy boy got out before explosions went off, bringing down the entire building. Sakura was standing on a much lower building, the boys behind her. Part of her provisions was a way out. She had weakened a section of the wall behind her to the point where simply leaning against it would have caused it to crumble away. The second the boy, Zaku, had raised his arms, she pressed on that section and jumped out holding the boys. Then she set off her trap, causing the whole building to fall in tremendous explosion. She grabbed the boys and began jumping across the rooftops as fast as possible, attempting to get away from the large cloud of debris currently trailing after her. Soon the debris inevitably caught her, forcing her to jump down into an alley between 2 buildings for cover. The cloud flew past overhead for a time, then it ended. As she was about to let out a breath in relief, the unmistakable sound of metal flying through the air reached her ears. Immediately she jumped up back to the rooftops. The alley was too narrow to fight properly. Following after her were the sound trio, looking no more worse for wear than they had before. How? I dropped that building on you guys, how the hell are you alive still? It'll take a lot more than that to kill us. Didn't you see what Zaku was able to do with wind? He simply shot a powerful blast above and below us, giving us somewhere to land and preventing any debris from falling on us. Dosu said with a happiness in his voice that chilled Sakura. He enjoyed the process his victims went through when they realized their attacks had completely failed. How about this, you hand over your 2 friends there and I'll kill you fast. A quick shot of my air will puncture right through you, you won't feel a thing. So how about it, Zaku said with a smirk. Sakura got into a fighting stance, choosing to not give a verbal response. Stupid choice, but this way is much more fun for us. Slicing sound wave. Sakura ran forward, then crossed her arms. However, instead of slicing right through the young girl, the blasts were stopped completely. Zaku's once arrogant face morphed into one of shock, bordering fear. What the hell? Nothing can block that, nothing at all. Sakura looked up and smiled. Her arms were a deep brown, almost black. Well, apparently they can't cut through diamond, she said with a smile, Truth be told, though, she didn't have anywhere near mastery over Earth Spear, and in fact her skin wasn't as hard as diamond yet, closer to perhaps tempered steel. She'd be able to block that attack consistently, but if he shot a considerably stronger variant, well, she didn't want to test that out. I'm only going to have a few attacks while using this. It drains my chakra rather quick. I need to make sure to land only at most 2 hits on each of them. Any more than that and I'll be running low on chakra and the attacks won't be as effective. She shot forward with blinding speeds, focusing chakra to her leg to give her an increase in takeoff speed, running straight towards Zaku. Her darkened fist collided with the boy's stomach, launching him away and off the roof. She then turned towards Dosu and ran at him, engaging in a taijutsu match. The mummy-like boy opted to dodge her attacks rather than block. Her jutsu was deactivated, but he knew she'd use it the second she saw an opening. She couldn't seem to land a hit on the boy. Every punch and kick she threw the boy dodged, but he hadn't gone on the offense yet. Unfortunately, she didn't know Dosu's ability with sound control from his gauntlet, and soon her vision doubled. Dosu saw her eyes quickly dart to the left and right. He smiled under his wrappings and threw a punch, catching the pink-haired girl right in the jaw. As her body turned, though, she grabbed the hand he had punched with and turned more, pulling the boy with her. She caught her footing and continued the initial turn until she threw him right into the last remaining team member, sending both teens off the edge of the building, joining their other teammate. Sakura jumped down, throwing kunai at the trio, who were still gathering their bearings, during her descent. The kunai were to separate the group, which they did, and once she landed she dashed towards Kin, who only had time to put her arms up in a measly defense that the pink-haired kunoichi broke through easily using Earth Spear, the attack completely shattering Kin's right arm as that had been the one to take the full force. She then changed direction and went after Dosu as Zaku was still on the ground recovering from the blow. She and the boy again engaged in a fierce taijutsu match, the boy again dodging the attacks. She was more aiming to hit his gauntlet than him, as she had not wanted to got through a repeat of the effects from the tool. The lashed out with a low kick that was a feint, as instead of completing the kick she placed it down and pulled her body forward, extending her reach and slammed her fist into the gauntlet. Unfortunately, she hadn't been 100% sure that the attack would hit, but she still cracked the device nonetheless. "Arg my arm. You bitch, I'm going to enjoy killing you," Dosu said with a rage that was unusual for him. He struck forward, but he had not meant for the attack to actually make contact. She had leaned her and his arm came parallel with her ear. She quickly activated the jutsu on that area of her head to hopefully lessen the damage caused, which somewhat worked. She saw double again and went off balance slightly, but it was nothing the young kunoichi couldn't handle. "Fine, I can't accurately hit him, then I'll go for a wide area attack." She leaped back, then dashed forward and jumped into the air, planning on landing with an axe kick that would have created a decent-sized crater had Zaku not used his wind to soften the ground so much that she instead sunk her leg down to her thigh in the soft ground. Zaku was having a lot of trouble standing up. In fact, he was positive that the punch had broken some ribs and possibly ruptured some organs, so all he could do at that point was shoot his air into the ground, as he couldn't move all too well. But even doing that was enough, as Sakura was struggling to pull her leg out. By this time Kin had recovered and threw 2 sanbon that landed behind Sakura. The 2 sanbon had bells attached to them that gently jingled in the breeze. The sound hit Sakura and her arms almost gave out as the world tripled. "Good job, Kin, time to finish this," Dosu said as he flicked his gauntlet and watched as Sakura's eyes widened as his technique hit her and she fell backwards. Dosu walked over to Zaku and helped him up. "All right, finish her, Zaku," Dosu said, sounding very pleased that they'd be able to carry out their mission now. Sakura had managed to get back on her elbows after she had lost her breakfast, the sounds giving incredible vertigo. She could see Zaku raise his arm and activated Earth Spear on as much of her body as possible before the wind hit her, sending her through a building. "There's no way she survived that. Now hurry up and go kill those kids." He then leaned over and spat out blood. "Fuck, I need to be healed." He spat up a much larger glob of blood. "That stupid bitch," Zaku said, his breathing and talking becoming more labored with each word. Before the trio could take another step, they felt fear. Fear like they had never felt before, as a roar rang out. An evil, demonic, monstrous roar rang out and shook them to their core, and then a red blur landed in front of them and stood up, looking at the trio. They saw a blonde-haired teen with blood-red eyes. His pupils were now horizontal slits. His whisker-like marks had grown and became darker. His lips gained a black outline and his canines had grown longer and sharper. But the most noticeable change was the red shroud surrounding him, with 3 tails swaying behind him. The chakra that was rolling off of the blonde-haired teen was even more oppressive than Orochimaru's, causing the trio to almost shake with fear. His tail shot out behind him, wrapping around his teammate and bringing her forward. The chakra spurred her awake and she gasped when she saw Naruto. Sakura had various gashes all over her body, with a large concentration of them on her stomach. There was blood coming from her ears and her cheek was swollen slightly. Overall, she looked like close to death. Covered in blood, visibly weak and pale. Naruto felt his rage grow and a nub of a 4th tail began to grow. Moments earlier, Naruto's psyche. Hurry up, Furball, I don't know how much time has passed, I need to make sure my friends are okay. Silence, you insolent worm, I am not doing this for you, I am doing this to ensure I don't become a slave now, stay quiet, damn it. Alright, don't hurt yourself, big guy. Naruto said with a snicker as the Kyuubi was slamming into the gate with much more force than before. Definitely going to need Tusan to look at the seal afterwards. He's pumping quite a bit of his chakra into me. Can't be good for the seal, I don't want him to be able to exert any more influence on me than he already has. He looked into the water and saw the seal fall away faster and faster, ink trailing down his body. With one last mighty slam, the seal broke. Naruto shouted in pain. He felt like his neck had just been branded as the seal popped off. The quick burst of pain was enough to drop him to his knee as he shouted. Fuck, that hurt. Anyways, time to leave. I know you did this for yourself, but thank you, Kyuubi. Naruto, wait. What's up? The Kyuubi smiled and let out a roar, then, with much more force than before, smashed into the seal, causing it to visibly bend forward. His chakra shot out and immediately consumed Naruto, who screamed in pain as the chakra wrapped around him. His eyes shot open and the chakra engulfed him. His mind went blank for an instant as all he felt was burning. He was faintly aware of a sound coming from his throat that sounded like the Kyuubi's demonic roar. His body moved on its own at first and he was over the building, landing on the floor. He saw the sound trio and saw the trail of carved earth. He knew who was at the end of that trail. Seeing her in that shape caused him to feel rage even greater than when he saw Sasuke fall. He wanted to tear these guys apart limb by limb. Kill them, Naruto. Destroy them. Coat the streets with their blood. Do it. Look at what they've done to your friend. She's half dead. She's going to die, Naruto. Because of them. Kill them. Kill them. Kill them, Naruto. His tails shoot forward and impaled them, going through their stomachs, slowly cooking them from the inside out. He lifted his tails, raising the trio, causing them to scream even louder in pain. Their throats sounded as if their throats were being ripped to shreds. Relish that sound, Naruto. Take joy in that power you feel now, that you were able to make those who've done your friend harm suffer. He put them back down, withdrew his tail from their stomachs, then engulfed their heads. They screamed, then his tails turned rapidly. When his tails let go of their heads, the trio fell on their stomachs. However, their faces were looking towards the sky. The Jinchuriki had turned their heads in a complete 180. Haha, yes, good, Naruto, good. He faintly heard an "Oh, Kami," but it seemed far away. All the boy could focus on was the pain and rage. That was until he felt another chakra almost as evil as his own. He looked up to the roof and saw purple swirls of chakra, then his best friend jumped down, covered in glowing red markings that soon turned black, but the swirls of chakra remained. He's fallen to Orochimaru. End him, he is a threat to you now. The boy is a demon, Sasuke. Use your new power and end him, he's not human, look at what he did to the others. Kill him, Sasuke. The boys looked at each other and ran toward one another with speeds impossible to keep track of and engaged in a ferocious taijutsu match. Each boy lost to the demons in their heads. Elsewhere. For once, Shikamaru was not having a troublesome day. His team had found the other team that had the same tag. A group of genin from Kumo and Team 10 easily defeated the Kumanin without breaking a sweat. The lazy genius trapped one while Ino started a fight between the other two, then Choji dropped all of them with his human boulder. Now all that was left was to find the golem. Well, unfortunately for the Nara, having a non-troublesome day was not possible in their line of work. The oppressive chakra hit them like a truck, causing them all to immediately stop dead in their tracks. What is that? Ino said, her voice wavering. Don't you guys remember? Both Ino and Chuji shook their heads no. Remember when Hokage-sama was gaining control of the Kyuubi's chakra? It felt like this, but not as oppressive and evil. It's obviously not Hokage-sama. Oh Kami, we need to go check it out, Shikamaru. Naruto-kun is in trouble. Yeah, Shikamaru. This can't be good. Something bad is happening over there. Choji said, worry etched into his features. Troublesome. Fine, let's go. The trio took off much faster than before, the chakra becoming more and more vile with each step. They landed on the rooftop of one of the few remaining buildings, the sight shocking them. Below them, Naruto and Sasuke were fighting fiercely, moving at incredible speeds and causing massive amounts of destructions. Lightning gun. Wind cannon. A giant bolt of lightning shot from Sasuke's hand. Naruto put his hands in front of himself and thrust them forward, launching a large distortion in the air that ripped apart everything that it passed. The two techniques met and the lightning bolt dissipated, but the wall of wind continued, just barely missing Sasuke. Lightning blast. A continuous stream of lightning shot from the raven-haired boy's hand. Some bolts went stray, tearing through whatever they made contact with and turning the dirt ground to glass. Naruto took a large breath, but instead of wind coming out, flames shot out continuously. The boy was breathing an inferno. The justice collided and seemed to be evenly matched for a moment. Then Naruto's flames began to overpower the lightning. We need to stop this now, they'll kill each other. Where's Sakura? Ino yelled while frantically